the new man, huh?
Yep.
Well, he's getting a little close to my ride.
Wow, that's how you make a first impression. They're gonna love you.
That's Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry in for 0% financing for 72 months across a full lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And just announced, get 0% APR for 72 months plus $1,000 cash back. Take advantage of these exclusive holiday offers during the Ford year-end sales event.
This is where life expresses itself as an endless flow of energy. Are you ready? Atlantis, Bahamas at heart.
Book by November 30th for the best winter rates at 1-800-Atlantis or AtlantisBahamas.com.
Is a cold sore making you want to hide? Try new Carmex cold sore treatment instead. It works on contact to treat 7 symptoms and minimize the appearance of the sore while it helps promote healing, so you can feel comfortable joining in the fun. New Carmex cold sore treatment, crafted by the lip care experts.
How frustrating is it to find a shirt that fits just right? They never have the size, color, or style you want. It's too long here, too baggy here, and if you're big or tall, forget it. Guys, listen. If you have an iPhone, iPad, or Android device, I have just the thing for you. M. Taylor. Download the app for free and design your own custom
shirt. Okay, everybody, stand by.
For just
We're going to kick this off
Choose
in
from
about 30
hundreds of
seconds.
styles. And in no time, your custom shirt's delivered right to your door. You never leave your living room. M. Taylor measures you digitally and delivers a custom-made shirt that's 20% more accurate than a tailor.
The women in my life love the shirt, especially in a place like New York City. Everybody's very fashion conscious.
Took a photo of me, did my measurements, and I was done in like 5 minutes. Using the M. Taylor app definitely beats going to the mall.
To get your custom-made shirt, download the M. Taylor app. With its digital tailor technology, your phone can measure you right now. With free
The following program may not be suitable for millennials under the age of 40. Parental discretion is strongly advised.
Oh, stand by for just 1 millisecond here, and we will say hello right now. And good day. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Oh, today sucked.
Oh, what a day.
Oh,
It's okay. We made it.
it's okay.
Made it to airtime.
We made it. We made it here where we're comfortable, and that's with you guys. It was just a hectic day. Hectic day all the way around.
Yes. Yes, indeedy.
So I'm glad to be here, aren't you?
Yes.
Huh?
Always.
Glad to be here with our peeps.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
We have. If I can find this thing, I think we can do this right. I just had it 2 seconds ago. As a matter of fact, I had everything set up, didn't I?
You did.
Huh? And all of a sudden it disappeared.
Oh.
Didn't it?
Well, you're really good at that, though.
What? Good at making stuff disappear?
Yeah. No. Setting things up.
Setting things up. Okay, here it
Getting
is.
things going.
Breaking news actually came about just as we were coming on air. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can switch the screen here for you and cover this breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The breaking news is that Charlie Rose, CBS anchor, was suspended, and he was accused of many different things that I'll describe to you here momentarily. We're going to put it up on the screen. 8 women, and this just came literally just moments before we came on air.
Yeah.
As I was preparing everything, I wanted to make sure we shared this with you.
And you said,
not because Charlie Rose is important, it's because we've entered a new age.
Well, he is kind of important. I mean, it's a name that everybody knows, right? People trust him. You invite this person into your living room, and guess what?
I think Charlie Rose he's a lop anyway.
He's a goober.
He's a goober. He's a goober on air. He's a goober in the way he asked questions when we were up in Malheur. I watched his presentation. He asked some really stupid, libtardish, government spewed type, Like, you might as well have had some CIA dude whispering in his ear, saying, psh, 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 "Ask him this stupid question."
Yeah.
You know, see what he says. Let me cover this before we comment.
Okay.
So we can give everybody the late breaking news. 8 women have told the Washington Post that longtime television host Charlie Rhodes made unwanted sexual advances towards them, including lewd phone calls. What a freaking goober. Who the hell he probably used a rotary dial phone to make those lewd phone calls too.
He's in trouble now.
Yeah. Lewd telephone calls. Walking around naked in their presence.
Wow.
Or groping their breasts, buttocks, or genital areas.
Wow.
The women are employees or aspired to work for Rose at the Charlie Rose Show from the late 90s to as recently as 2011. They ranged in age from 21 to 37 at the time of the alleged encounters. Rose, 75, whose show airs on PBS, also co-hosts CBS This Morning, and is contributing correspondent for 60 Minutes. These are striking commonalities in the accounts of women, each of whom described their interactions with Rose in multiple interviews with the Post. And the Post they're referring to is the Washington Post. And this thing has hit the mainstream media in a very, very big way. I mean, it was all over Fox when we were coming on air. And somebody, one of the commentators, contributors on Fox, hit it right and said, "We've entered a new age." There are going to be a lot of whistleblowers out there.
Yeah, it was
coming forward about sexual harassment.
Yeah, she said, people just aren't going to tolerate this anymore. And it's interesting because Fox News had their go around with all of the
is that offline?
With all the accusations a few months ago. So remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fox News and also Roger Ailes actually got fired as a result.
Yes.
That was probably the first round.
O'Reilly.
Yeah, O'Reilly.
Who was the other guy? Oh gosh, he was on the 5. The guy that sits at the head of the table. I forget what his name is.
I forget.
See how easy we forget?
Yeah, because
how quickly we forget.
I was at the Motel 6 and we didn't get that on our channel.
Well,
they didn't allow us to watch Fox News or
They
CNN.
had a whole purge that happened there, So, Fox News, I don't know, commenting on this, it's just like, I'm like going, ugh, it's got to be uncomfortable for them to be even saying anything, because they just went through the same thing.
Yeah. And you know what else is uncomfortable?
Yeah. What is that?
Looking at guys like Roger Ailes. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, when I was growing up, way back when, I used to be a really good-looking guy. I keep saying this over and over again. I can prove it, though. Right? And I literally used to,
You're still a good-looking guy.
Oh, yeah?
What are you talking about? Sure.
Oh, not nearly as...
I better be careful, because...
I had a young, virile look.
I'll get fired.
Way back then. Women wanted to make babies with me.
They did.
Yeah, they're like, "Man, you got good genetics." Huh?
There you go.
But you know what? I never forced myself on any woman ever. Okay. As a matter of fact, any woman out there, if you if you want to claim that I forced myself on you, now's the time to do it because that's the trend. But here's my point, just real quick. Roger Ailes. I mean, he hasn't seen his penis in like years.
Well, I think some of these women are going back way back.
Nasty, sweaty, way back. How far back? Roger Ailes is freaking. Who knows? He's ugly.
Who knows? I mean, now they're judging up Clinton again, and well, sure, all that stuff's coming back. I know
that's kind of rude to say, but just think about that. He's just sweaty and hairy, huh?
Right.
Like guys like him and Harvey Weinstein would have to force themselves on women.
Yeah, no kidding,
Wouldn't
right?
They? Right?
Yeah. Well, I said this, excuse me, I said this the other night, and I don't know how well it went over, probably like a lead balloon, but with these women that are coming up in their careers, they all want to be stars, right? And they let these guys get by with this stuff, and it sends out a message. And it always has in Hollywood and in the music industry. I keep waiting for the music industry to chime in now because they're going to, And they allow this behavior to happen. And then now they're all crying foul, after they've made millions. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, not that you would ever want to blame the woman, for sure. And it shouldn't be this way, but it has been for decades, and they've gotten by with it and gotten by with it and gotten by with it. And the women who are now accusing actually let them get by with it so that they could go on and assault someone else and do it to someone else. Nobody ever stepped forward. So, it just kind of makes you wonder. I mean, I'm glad they're doing it now, but sometimes I feel like, wow, this has turned into a witch hunt. Because like you said, anybody could step forward and say that you sexually assaulted them. Anybody could do that and destroy your career.
Yeah.
Or destroy your life, and just on their word. It's kind of like when you go through YouTube and people are just saying all kinds of crazy shit about you, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Once you've been accused, it sticks to you. They throw that jacket on you, a bad jacket, and you're forced to wear it. You're guilty until proven innocent. So when somebody makes that kind of accusation, right? Or any accusation. Yeah.
Now, these guys, would you consider them to be a danger to society?
I guess their own society. I mean, Hollywood is weird. And what's really wild about this whole thing is the elite, the Hollywood elite especially, they went through this whole sexual revolution thing, where they revolutionized sex, made it normal, threw it in your face. Everything's about sex, and killing and guns and all this stuff in movies, right? And all the things that they profess to be against are, now.
Stop the show for a second.
Why?
Would you grope me on the air?
No.
Why not?
Because I just wouldn't.
Come on.
I wonder how many women have groped.
What if I want to be
When's that going to start happening?
Huh?
When is that going to start happening?
I won't file a complaint against you.
When are the guys going to start coming forward and saying that
I was groped?
Yeah.
Huh?
That
somebody
sexually assaulted me, a woman. You know what happens
at the TSA?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I used to do going through security?
Can you imagine what would happen to you now?
Well, you know what I used to say when I was allowed to fly on planes?
What?
That funny.
When you used to be,
I don't even know. But I would go to I'd go to the biggest, largest Nubian princess in the line, and I'd say, I want you
to grope me.
Yeah, that's right. And they would just laugh, and I'd be flirting with them,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say in a racial kind of way.
Yeah.
I said Nubian princess. That's non-racial.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's like Harris Faulkner on Fox News. She is a Nubian princess. She's beautiful.
She's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But you don't want to grope me on air?
No, I better not.
I feel shunned.
Don't feel shunned.
I'm scorned.
Well, come here.
I'm scorned. All right.
Yeah, because that's the policy around here,
Let's see.
Right?
If you're in Super Chat and you want Deb to grope me live on the air.
No, I'm not going to do that.
What's the dollar amount?
I don't know. I'm not going to do that. No.
Well, you won't do it for free.
You know what somebody said about us in the threads today?
What?
That we were infantile.
What?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Here,
let's go. Yeah, thank you.
Let's go check out the news you're watching over at the Young Turks about how to put your makeup on. Huh?
Let's go.
Adult-like, right?
Let's go learn about sustainable developmental.
You know what we could do? We could spend 3 hours just saying Constitution, 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 right? And then you'd listen back to it. We'd listen back to it and we'd say, wow, we really suck. Huh? You know what? Hey, let me bring up a good point, okay?
Okay.
Because what we do in between these news stories, we're talking. Hey, you know what? This is the only chance we get to talk.
We do.
We weren't even most of the day today. We're just clicking away, just doing all kinds of work, busy work to get the show ready to go. This is our opportunity to let our hair down and relax.
Yeah.
And have a good time with our listeners. And that's the way it goes. It's a 3-hour show. We take telephone calls. We cover a lot of news.
Somebody just called us Porn Santilli.
Huh?
Porn Santilli.
Porn? P-O-R-N?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's like a oh man, that's like a
not even close.
$250,000 super chat.
Yeah, there
right?
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's great. So here's how it works. When breaking news happens, okay, this is where you want to come. And I mean breaking news, like, Paris, like when Paris happened, we were on that thing for 24 hours, I think, straight. We streamed that. We interacted with a lot of people. We talked about terrorism. We talked about false flag terrorism.
Right.
Everybody in the chat room, you get in the chat room, remember where to go. You go to sbn.buzz/live and you join us when any major breaking news happens. Okay. And we're not infantile. We don't joke around during events like that. Certainly not. But during our show, we also get pretty serious. But could you imagine a 3-hour show just well? Yeah,
I mean, serious.
I'm not going to pick on anybody.
Yeah. So see, we're not allowed to have fun. Though,
no.
See?
Yeah. We
have to be serious.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. But we are going to get serious here. You want to get serious?
Well, in a minute.
Why?
Well, because I wanted to let everybody know that one of our trolls sent us a video, and we're going to be playing that tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. One of our trolls sent us a video, and
we're going to feed your trolls.
Yeah, it's seriously making fun of us, and so we're gonna play it on the air and let you guys decide. We
accept it willingly, right? Yeah. Let's cover a couple of headlines here because there's lots of them. We got the Charlie Rose story. Here's another late breaking report that came about today. AT&T. Did I say what the date is? I need to say this on the recording because
you always do because people forget and then they yell at us.
Not only that, but
oh my gosh, people yell at us
when I'm in jail. Mm-hmm. I mean the Motel 6, and I'm at the computer. I had a computer.
You know what your biggest habit for me was?
What?
You would call me, and every phone call for 619 days was, hey, what time is it?
What time is it? I didn't have.
What is today?
I didn't have a watch. Oh, I lost track of time. I didn't have a watch.
Like,
didn't have a calendar. Anything like that.
I was like, do you mean? I would be like, do you mean? Is it Wednesday, Thursday, or what day of the month? And you'd be like, both. I want to know what both. You really literally at times did not know what day it was.
Yeah. And they had the computer screwed up so the dates and times were all wrong. Sometimes my files would get all messed up too.
Yeah.
Because it would say that it was 1902.
Right.
And my files were literally all screwed up.
1902.
Yeah, whatever. It'd say some cockamamie date and it would screw up all of my files. Like when I would, make clips, evidence and stuff like that, render it down.
Time traveling, were you?
Time traveling. But I'd be listening to the show and I didn't say what the date was. So I'm like, what day was this? And then, and I don't, so here it is for the record, just in case.
For the record.
Just in case you're in jail listening to my shows and you need it as evidence, okay? Because I'm not going back there. Heck no.
Heck no.
I'm going to just stay on my show, be a good guy.
Be good.
Monday, November 20th, 2017. There it is. Good job. It's official. There we are. Okay.
Good.
So on this Monday, November 20th, 2017, we also have a great guest coming on. Now, for those of you that were expecting Pastor Irvin Baxter, say a prayer for Pastor Irvin Baxter because he's ill.
Yeah, he's not feeling well at all.
I hope for a speedy recovery with him.
Right.
We have another guest that we've been meaning to get on, and he's coming on tonight. His name is Walid Shoebat.
Yes.
Okay, Shoebat.com. And we're going to be covering some Saudi Arabia news.
Right.
Okay. And for now, Pete Santilli is the temporary guest that's going to cover news. And AT&T, check this out. AT&T was sued by the U.S. seeking to block a merger with Time Warner between AT&T. AT&T sued by the U.S. to block the merger with Time Warner. And, for those of you that are interested in this kind of stuff, like me, I'm going to bore you with just a brief little clip here with some commentary from some of the experts. So, okay. Antitrust
and that's
suit.
certainly the argument that AT&T and Time Warner have both put forward. And look, as you say, it's not a huge surprise. If you look at the Time Warner stock, it's down, but sort of less than 2%. So obviously this was reasonably well telegraphed.
Yes.
I think what's so interesting here is, it's this idea of vertically integrating companies is never really something the Department of Justice take too seriously. It's seen as being fairly sort of neutral in terms of the competitive landscape.
Now, if you don't think this is important, I'm stopping this right here temporarily because I need to interject. If you don't think it's important, it's important. These monopolizations, okay, with AT&T coming back, Time Warner controlling the flow of information, we're already suffering from information flow control by the likes of Google, by Facebook. We're going to talk about that right after this. But this is very, very important. So you need to understand the full implications.
I guess what this reflects is that the sort of market power architecture has changed so significantly in the last few years in terms of, companies like Amazon. Amazon goes out, buys Whole Foods. Does that create any antitrust? Not really. But because they're so powerful, because it's such a huge monster of a company, it can actually go and upset the whole grocery sector. So you do have to look at these deals now in the round. This is content and distribution being put together. You would say under normal circumstances, no overlap whatsoever. But obviously, justice feel different.
Pricing implications going forward.
Yeah, and what does this actually mean in terms of other potential deals? 21st Century Fox with Comcast or Disney. I mean, is this really going to be the gold standard that could potentially put other deals on hold from a regulatory standpoint to see how this resolves what happens in court?
Yeah, I think, look, undoubtedly, just the very fact that the DOJ are doing this, whether or not they succeed in litigation, that will have a chilling effect on big deals, particularly sort of deals of this kind of high-profile nature. I think.
This is a high-profile deal, okay? But we also need to consider the fact that these communications companies. Do you remember way back when there used to be a bunch of communications companies, but now you get all of your information, all of your media from about 6 people, 6 companies, okay? And that's not a good thing. Because we see that the flow of information is restricted. This has everything to do with that. When we come back, we're going to talk more about what's happening on the internet. It is happening. And I had a discussion actually with an attorney today. And then all of a sudden, this article came up. Wait till you hear this article that came up. You haven't seen it yet. But we'll talk about that as soon as we get back.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply, and of course the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
We've made some changes. Not only have we changed our name to Santilli Broadcasting Network, we've now partnered with beforeitsnews.com, one of the last news sharing sites that promotes articles written and researched by citizen journalists like you and me.
For over 5 years, The Pete Santilli Show has been a contributor to one of the most powerful independent news sharing sites, Before It's News, the most innovative, people-powered outlet for independent media on the internet today.
Thousands of contributors working together to bring you news from the sublime to mainstream headlines.
Beforeitsnews.com lives up to its name, because many times you'll see an important news story before it ever hits the mainstream media.
Beforeitsnews.com. People-powered sharing of news stories that are ranked based on what the readers determine is important.
Visit beforeitsnews.com. Check out the top 50 trending articles circulating on the internet right now.
Unfiltered, uncensored stories ranked by people, not the global elite.
Okay, lunch is over. Now back to work. Hiya, Mr. Flintstone.
Greetings, Rocky, my boy. Pack of Winstons, please.
Oh, you like them Winston cigarettes, huh, Mr. Flintstone?
But of course, they really got something.
You bet your life. Folks who really enjoy smoking know it's what's up front that counts. And that's where Winston steps out ahead of the crowd with their exclusive filter blend. Choice golden tobaccos, specially selected and specially processed for filter smoking. smoke.
Hold it, hold it.
What's the matter?
What are you pitching Winston's at me for? You know I never smoke nothing else.
Just practicing, Mr. Flintstone. Everybody knows that.
Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should.
Yeah.
See you soon, Rocky.
The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Hello to all the beautiful people out there. The beautiful people out there in Facebook land, YouTube land, Periscope land, everywhere we're getting out right now. We're getting out pretty well.
Yes.
So wherever you're listening, far and wide, and if you're listening to the rebroadcast, no matter where you're at, we're on Podbean now. We've got broadcast going up there, Periscope. So we're starting to get up and running here.
Yeah.
And one quick comment.
Well, I want to ask you something before we get going.
Oh, my goodness.
How does it feel to have your attorney in your Facebook thread trolling you?
I told Chris Rasmussen that he's going to be in charge of my 7-second delay button. Okay? No, don't say that. Beep. And cut that out, huh?
Right.
Or he could just let it fly and
He's
pick
like,
up
knock it off
and pick up legal fees. Just let it ride. Right?
Is he charging you for this?
No. Yeah, but still,
he
picks up legal fees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, Chris
We
Rasmussen.
love him. He's great.
We love him, and we're going to bring him on when it's appropriate, because right now the jury is seated. And as I've said time and time again, I was on Sam Bushman's show, and I said, you know what? I have such respect for the jury as what I believe is the last bastion of hope, no matter how much you complain about the judiciary, whether it be at the state level, the county level, or the federal level. Once that jury's seated, I do not ever want them Googling my name and hearing my commentary about a trial that's right in progress, because they're not going to hear a portion of information. So that will come in time. And when Chris comes and joins me after the trial, and we can only pray that good results come for everybody. He'll come on, and we've got a lot to talk about. So, Chris, thanks a lot for joining us. Now,
thanks a lot for trolling us.
Thanks a lot for trolling us. Yeah. As a matter of fact, go to YouTube and submit. No, he can't submit a super chat. He can't do that. That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, he can't.
Yeah, he can't. All right, now listen. Let's get back to this.
Anyway.
So, I had a discussion, with a very close attorney friend.
Yes.
Okay.
That wasn't Chris Rasmussen.
It wasn't Chris Rasmussen.
Yeah.
But I was saying, you know what? I'm taking a look at, as I've said, the landscape of independent media and seeing what's happening to independent media journalists.
And how we can sue people.
Yeah, and how we can sue them. And it was a great discussion because she's like, okay, well, how does this happen? Have you been able to factualize this stuff? Is it happening to you and others? And I said that the conservatives are being targeted. And there's a large number of them, and I could actually line them all up. But to go up against their team of attorneys, long story short, the bottom line is, guess what, folks? We have an option. If conservatives are being targeted, and they come up with their community standards guidelines, Facebook and Google wants to control all the advertising flow. As a monopoly, they want to control all the money. They do.
No, and they do.
They could take it away from the conservatives. Now, we've had... these guys go to Congress and say, well, we're trying to stop fake news / the Pete Santilli show. Because they could call the Pete Santilli show fake news.
Sure.
So
I'm sure they do.
We figured out a way to cut off their funding. Oh, okay, thanks. That's how.
Yes, and we're not worried
United
about
States
those
of America.
guys.
Forget about their free speech or anything like that.
Yeah, we're not worried about them. We're just cut off their funding. They'll go away.
Well, we figured out a way that Pete Santilli can operate freely with freedom of speech. We're just going to basically allow him to do it for free. He won't be able to make a living doing it because we're going to cut off all his money.
Right.
Well, guess what my options are?
And increase the flow to people like ABC News.
Yes, that's right.
And the Young Turks and people like that. They increase the flow.
Because we don't survive.
To them.
We go away. We go away. Independent media, if it doesn't survive, we don't figure out a way to fix this thing. We go away. And then you're stuck with Charlie Rose, the freaking child molester. Alleged.
Yeah. Alleged.
Yeah, they were young girls. I'm sorry. Were they of age?
Yeah.
Charlie Rose. Okay.
I think it was like 20-something.
I can't keep track of all these pedophiles. Sorry. They're not all pedophiles. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know. And he's only been accused. Remember what it feels like to be found guilty, before.
Yeah.
innocent.
Well, how come they're not pronounced guilty until they can prove their innocence and thrown in jail for 21 months?
Yeah, well,
why not them? Right?
You know what? I'm surprised as rabid as it's all getting. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. That they just haven't started throwing people in the Hootscow and the Gulag. You know?
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of Gulag, let's talk about Google.
Oh yeah. Speaking of.
So here I had this conversation with the attorney, and she made a lot of sense. She said, you can roll up your sheepskin and go elsewhere, come up with a new revenue model.
Right.
It's their business. It's their free market.
Yeah, but it costs, the millions it would cost to build something like that in today's
Not to build, but we
atmosphere
can,
in the
independent media, if the independent media is targeted. But ultimately, we can just pick up and go elsewhere. That's a good point right there.
It is.
To go sue them, okay? Let's say you have a legitimate case. And we do. The conservatives are being targeted. And I gave a great analogy. The analogy is, let's say Google was Lois Lerner over at the IRS. And she says, oh, you can be a nonprofit. It's just going to take you about 17 years to become one because we got you in the back room.
We got
we got a guy smoking ciggies in Cincinnati, and he's just spewing his Krispy Kreme donuts all over your paperwork, and we lost it.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right, so you can become a nonprofit. Oh, you're conservative, Tea Party, back room, boom, to the guy with the cigarette and the Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah, they notify your bank, Operation Chokehold, everything.
Yeah.
You're done. You're done, and you get audited. A lot.
So if it's going to take you 17 years to become a nonprofit, okay, go sue the IRS.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. We have to appeal to our legislators to look into this, and not to bring regulation, but to investigate and say, are you being selective here? Are you being discriminatory towards conservatives? Conservatives. Or what's going on here? So an inquiry is definitely at hand, but the best route is not to sue Google, because guess how many attorneys they have?
How many?
Well, let's put Chris Rasmussen up against them and watch him sweat, right?
Right.
He's a criminal defense attorney, but it's like taking Chris Rasmussen. What's that?
I said, well, they're criminals.
Yeah, they're criminals, but Chris Rasmussen would have to go up against 800 attorneys that have unlimited resources, and they would outspend, us, and we would go away, and we would never have justice on the civil side.
Right.
Certainly not. But here this conversation came up, talking about what we can do. And there's lots of things we can do. I'm not going to get sidetracked. And then this article came about because she said, who else is it happening to? Now, check this out. It's time for the most powerful companies in digital media to stop playing dumb, Brown says. Okay, Tina Brown is angry and upset at Google and Facebook for the following reasons. And this was literally released within moments after I got off the telephone call. Because who else is complaining about it? Because I said I'm whiny and complaining. I can no longer become a YouTube bazillionaire.
You're whiny.
It's not going to happen anymore because if I say Clinton, I get demonetized.
Yes, you
don't
do.
say Clinton. That's not friendly to our advertisers.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
But starting in her 20s as the editor of, what is that? Tatler magazine in London, Tina Brown rode a wave to print magazines to become one of the most influential people in the media. She tells a good portion of her of that story in her new no-holds-barred memoir, The Vanity Fair Diaries, 1983 to 1992. But after editing Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, and the short-lived Talk magazine, which was financed by none other than Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, my goodness.
Brown moved her editing online, founding the Daily Beast in 2008. On the latest episode of Recode Decode, hosted by Kara Swisher, she explained why she left that publication after 6 years and why the new power players in media, tech companies like Google and Facebook, have left her feeling frustrated. She said, I'm very angry and upset about the way advertising revenue has been essentially pirated by Facebook and Google world without nearly enough give back. No give back, really, to the people who create those brilliant pieces that are posted all over their platforms, Brown said. It's high time they gave back to journalism. She proposed the creation of a huge journalism fund for local media, even though she doubts that would ever happen. Now, you heard the conversation that I had this morning.
That's right.
What are our options? What can we do? There needs to be public awareness, okay? And that's why I keep repeating this thing about what's happening with independent media. Not because, and I even said that to this person. I said, I just sound like a whiny guy that needs to come up with a new revenue model. And I said, but I think I have something that's legitimate. that conservatives are being targeted. They're being discriminated against. They're being shut down by the likes of those that have monopolistic control at the top end.
They do.
Facebook and Google. So that monopolistic control is nothing that I'm going to be able to counter, and nor does Chris Rasmussen have, the resources to be able to fund that type of an operation to go up against their attorneys. This is it's not it's antitrust, maybe. I don't know. It's a monopoly essentially. They're controlling not just the flow of information. They're controlling the dollars, and that's how they're going to control it. Because he who has the money, the purse strings,
right,
and the total control. Remember,
yes.
Psychologically, it's a psyop. They know it. They want to keep you on that website. It's for monetary reasons. It's not just for mind control, because they want to earn revenue.
Yes,
and they therefore
do.
Are at the top of the pyramid. This revenue model is not going to work for our society,
right?
Because of the amount of information that will be pushed through by the mainstream media types, the only people that will be able to afford. Now, essentially, Facebook and Google will be the only news sources. Because even the Daily Beast is huge.
It is.
And she's complaining because they have no interest. I realize that. It's like, we're not a media company. We're a platform. Okay, well, guess what? When you don't have human beings who have judgment, who have taste, who have a sense of responsibility, you can have any old Russian hacker dishing it out to the American public. There you go. So she went from one thing to allowing Russian hackers to come in and
right.
do all kinds of crazy stuff. But
right.
the whole, everything is Russian, everything is child molestation, and everything is sexual harassment, everything is pedophilia, and everything's Harvey Weinstein.
I'm telling you.
But the bottom line is,
everybody's kind of forgotten about Harvey Weinstein.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, have you noticed that?
Everybody's just a hot, sweaty, belly button, lint-filled, nasty. Huh?
Don't stick your finger in there, kind of. Yeah. It's kind of nasty.
Harvey Stinkstain. So nasty.
Yep.
Opinion forming, influential content. It's very hard to find and support and have an impact, to which she added. People don't know what's important or where to find it. So it doesn't wash to say there's so many transactions, everybody can find it. It's needle in the haystack for so many people. Now, remember what I said, needle in the haystack. It is the world's largest library with the books scattered all over the floor, right?
Yes.
And we have a bunch of, and we're going to call us info consumers. Okay. We're info consumers. And we're out grazing in this pasture, the world's largest library with the books scattered all over the floor.
Yeah.
We're just picking them up, right? And we're reading them and we're sharing information.
Yeah.
But Google and Facebook has literally swept up all the books and put them all into their trough.
Yeah.
And they say, go ahead, continue to graze. The only place you're going to be able to get information is in our little trough.
Yes.
And you're going to be able to go one or two or three different ways.
You know what I think is really...
Is that a good analogy?
Yes, it is.
I'm an analgist. An it'll just... What? I'm sorry to be so infantile, but...
I know.
What were you going to say?
I know. I shouldn't have told you that someone said that, because I knew that it would just be, okay, I'm going to really show them infantile. Okay. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. It must not have been important.
That's good. Break my flow, because I'll keep going on this one.
I know you will.
Yeah.
I
Because
know.
I'm very passionate about it. Why? For the same reasons that I've always been passionate about stories. It's information that I believe the public deserves to know.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, because my point is this. Who are they to tell us how to vet something, what to believe, what not to believe? I mean, who does it really hurt if a
Sorry, hit your cough button.
I know, when I cough, you don't hit it. I mean, but who does it really hurt, right? If somebody spreads a story that's not necessarily like the truth. Do you know what I mean? I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to get rid of all of the Loch Ness Monster stuff and the Bigfoot stuff. And do you know what I'm saying? But remember, we covered a few years ago back now that, what they were really going to do is just push everybody to a slower speed internet. People are going to have to start.
That's going to happen too.
Yeah. People are going to start having to pay for to get a quality website, to get a fast speed. And, people like us are never going to be able to do that. So we'll stay on the old internet. They'll get on the new internet, and that'll be it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you won't see us on Google anymore in their searches. They've already started doing that, actually. They've already started doing it, so...
They have. And do you mind? I'm going to go back to the story because we're going to continue on with a couple of quick points here.
Please do.
Let's see. They do a podcast. We'll skip over that. But our new podcast, Brown said, she's also concerned about how the global reach of social media platforms could over-amplify voices that don't represent how most people feel or shouldn't be the loudest in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I've used these analogies over and over again. I've referred to this mafia, right? And I'm not even going to select them because I don't want somebody to say, oh, there you go. You said gay and you said mafia. And they said, I call them the gay mafia because we have gay friends. We are very, very respectful of people's rights to do whatever it is that they do.
Mm-hmm.
We're opinionated about it. I'm heterosexual and I wear that on my sleeve, right?
No, yeah.
But if there is a select few individuals that all of a sudden they got rainbow flags and they're controlling the media and they're pushing out their narrative and they want their scripting on the evening news and they want it in all of the primetime programming and they want to do, well, we're not all gay. Sorry, we're not. That isn't the majority. The majority of us here on this planet are heterosexual. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a population problem.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I have proof that the majority of us are heterosexual because our population's exploding.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
It's a great point. But with social media and the internet, it gives these individuals, especially the left that are on Twitter, I mean, they're just dominating Twitter, to just amplify their voice. And it makes it seem like, oh my goodness, Pete Santilli, if I went on Twitter and started listening to them, I'd be like, oh, should I turn gay really quick to kind of fit in? Should I?
Give in to peer pressure.
Yeah, gee, I feel like a minority right now on Twitter. I'm not gay, right?
No kidding.
I mean, I'm just using that as...
Because we know most everybody on Twitter is gay. Just kidding.
Well, that's a broad stroke statement.
Well, yeah, but
that is.
There's different levels of gayness.
My point is, their voices... Yeah, that's right. They certainly are. My point is, don't over-amplify your minority view. Tom Coleman said, that's a minority view. You said Constitution. Only a small select group of people actually defend the Constitution.
It's crazy.
Tom Coleman said that.
Yeah.
That minority view is over-amplified. And anyways, we'll come back. We'll talk more about this stuff in a very, very juvenile, infantile kind of way. If you don't like it, I don't know. Maybe tune in a little bit later. We're going to get serious about Saudi Arabia imploding and war going on.
Yep.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Protest spokes trucker Peter Santilli.
You put 100 million people out on the road with truck drivers, lawfully, constitutionally. It will be literally the largest traffic jam in the history of mankind as far as we're concerned. It's got that potential.
You heard him say 100 million. They're going to start a little smaller. They're going to start with 3,000 arriving in D.C. on Friday morning.
Yeah, 3,000 Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, 100 million. You got to ramp up. So, folks, let me just get out my old CB radio and put my ears on.
Despite adversity, The Pete Santilli Show is stronger than it's been since we launched our first episode in April 2011. If you're hearing this message, you're obviously connected via the powerful reach of our show. With over 22 years of internet marketing experience, we've got what it takes to help you develop a campaign that will successfully broadcast your business to millions of viewers and listeners worldwide. We've got big plans in the near future to expand our audience and educate the growing number of citizen journalists trying to make a difference in the world we live in. Pete's working towards syndicating the show with some of the biggest names in broadcasting, and we want to take you with us. If you're a small business owner and you'd like to advertise to our listeners across the country and around the world, please send us an email to advertise@thepetesantillishow.com today.
Live from Cincinnati, Ohio, it's the Pete Santilli Show.
Okay, so let's get back to the conversation if we could. All right.
Yes.
Why do they always send the poor? That's the big question.
Yes.
Why do they always send the poor?
Why do they always?
Yeah.
And they always do.
No. Here, hold on a second. We're going to... Everybody's going to find a real good time. Let's have a real good time. Because we're gonna shift gears here, and we're gonna watch. I'm gonna prove my point here, okay? And I'm gonna prove it to Kathy Griffin, who is just so far off the rails.
Yeah.
I mean, to watch her, I'm actually gloating in this point that your minority view and the thing that you were pushing, including, and this was the first time. Today was the first time that I saw the image that I heard about when I was at the Motel 6. Of her holding, because I only saw the blotched thing on George Stephanopoulos' show.
Right.
They didn't want to show how repulsive that was. It was disgusting, and I'm putting it here. We'll probably get shut down on YouTube because we actually showed what she did, huh?
I said demonetized.
Demonetized. Doesn't meet community standards. It's violent, and she's liberal. She's libtard. She's LGBT, and she looks terrible. And she is so desperate, and I'm literally just reveling in her misery that exists. Here's my point. You are a minority view. And guess what? The majority has spoken with their wallets. Okay?
They have.
And they said, not only do we find your thing with the Donald Trump head repulsive, okay, but you're now out of business. Okay? Let's play this video here, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
It's me, Kathy Griffin, and I'm doing what I call a State of the Union
She
YouTube
looks
video.
terrible.
So I hope you watch this on YouTube. It'll probably be like about 5 minutes.
She looks like Pee Wee Herman.
What's the date? Saturday, November 18th. It's Saturday, November 18th, 2017. I kind of lose track because I'm on a world tour.
Oh,
All right,
world
so
tour.
What I want to address today is I'm getting
That's
a
about
lot
to come
of
to a
online
screeching
hate
halt.
from trolls who think I've lost my mind. And I'm admitting I lost my mind. It's what made me a star in the first place. But I just want to be honest. Like, as far as what we're going through and hoping this is a turning point for feminism and women's equality, pardon me, I just want you to know that at 57, for me, it's not a marathon. It's a sprint. So I don't have a lot of time to be patient. And, I read today that my pal Lena Dunham is sticking up for some male writer that was accused of sexual harassment. And her female partner, Jenny Connor, who Judd Apatow handpicked for her, and nobody's ever handpicked anybody for me. I don't know the details, but my first instinct is, girl, that's not helping the movement. And it's a movement.
The movement.
And the sun is coming out of the clouds as I say that.
So, it's a movement.
don't
The
be
movement
too
is
hard
not
on
going to
Lena,
move very
don't
fast
be
here.
hard on
Stay
me.
tuned. Wait till you hear the movement come to a screeching
And
halt.
I just want you guys to know I'm fully in the middle of a blacklist. Like, I am in the middle of a Hollywood blacklist. It is real. I am not booked on any talk shows. I'm selling tickets worldwide, which is really hard when you don't have any kind of a television platform and kind of nobody has your back and everyone thinks you're crazy. But a handful of people think I'm kind of on to something. So I just want you guys to know,
onto something.
When I get home, I do not have one single day of paid work in front of me. And people that want me to go back and start in clubs and do 10 minutes again, I don't mean to be an asshole, but no. I'm not going to do that.
Not her.
No.
Way too hard.
Work way
to
too
go back
hard.
And work for free and do the club scene again because this is some bullshit because I've been blacklisted. So I actually got another fundraising email from the great Norman Lear, and I just had to write back and go, yeah, none of you can ask me for money anymore. Okay, my legal bills are through the roof, obviously, because I'm doing something I really believe in. And I still say the end goal is for younger women and younger LGBT folks or disenfranchised people of any kind can watch me survive and with a sense of humor. So I just want to say, like, I have a show tonight in Vienna. I never thought I'd be able to play Vienna. Every single country I've played, I can't believe that there are hundreds, if not thousands of people that don't even speak English as their first language, as if I do. That's my opener. And I'm very heartened by that. So there is hope out there. There's a lot of forces coming against people like me that are trying to do something.
Here, I'm done with her. There's a force, okay, that was created. It's like weather modification, okay? There's a tornado that came upon my house after I created a freaking tornado to come upon my house. Right?
Right.
It's like the weather modification guy saying there was an F5 that came through my neighborhood. I was the one that programmed it to do that.
Yeah.
You programmed it, Kathy Griffin, okay? When you did that jihadist, like a jihadist, a beheading and holding Donald Trump's head up. It's not only repulsive, the people that carry their wallets to her gigs are no longer going to her gigs.
That's right.
And she's not getting booked.
Yeah.
Because if she really had that much of a powerful voice, right? People would be flocking to her venues.
Yeah, they would.
And they would be booking her, wouldn't they?
They would.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if I was really the voice of this age, I'd get $1 billion in freaking super chats. But I don't because I suck and I'm infantile.
Right.
What do you mean right?
No, well, I mean, right as I'm getting your point.
Yes. Right?
So I believe that the far left, once again, has underestimated the power of the conservative wallet.
Yeah.
Conservatives who
are gainfully employed.
Listen, they find Kathy Griffith funny. They watch her movies. They pay to go see her in comedy clubs.
Yeah.
They don't when we go to see a concert or a movie or whatever, we don't want to, or a football game or a basketball game.
Right.
We don't want to hear about somebody's politics. We go to those things to get away from that.
She's got an agenda. She's got a movement. She's got a political message. She's
Right.
literally standing up doing stand-up comedy looking like freaking Pee Wee Herman. Okay?
Right.
I'm LGBT. It's a movement. I've got a mission and a handful of people saying I'm onto something. Really?
Yeah.
People are not going to your gigs anymore because
Yeah.
they don't want your shit pushed off on them.
It's like, shut up and be funny.
Shut up and be funny.
Yeah.
I want to go see a comedian to laugh.
Right. And if you're tired of doing that gig, then don't book world tours and don't try to get work in America, because the people who spend the money are not going to come and see you.
She's like, I'm on world tour. I'm really busy. And then she says, she acts all self-important. And then she acts as if she's being blacklisted. You blacklisted yourself, you jamoke.
Yeah.
You did. You blacklisted yourself.
Yeah, she did.
So this is an example, okay, of a handful of people that thinks that she's onto something. And she's trying to push it off on a lot of people. And those conservatives, generally, that are sitting in the seat individually, they get up and they go to a comedy event, a comedy club to laugh. And if they're not laughing or they see a hidden agenda, they know they smell it coming a mile away. Here's the deal. Her movement, okay, is supported by people that they fill, with the left. They fill and they organized. They fill these buses up with individuals that go to these protests and wave their flags and lobby Barack Obama to paint the White House rainbow colors and to do all that stuff, right? But they don't have a mechanism to get all those people because the majority of them are not gainfully employed, with the exception of the gay mafia. The gay mafia, actually, they have Hollywood. They make a lot of money. They're very gainfully employed.
Yep.
But generally, they don't have busloads of people that they can send to her comedy events in a very organized,
I used to really
leftist
like
type.
her.
I used to like her too. She was funny.
I used to love George Clooney. He's from this area, and if you hang around here enough, you're going to get to see him. He always does movies here in the Cincinnati area. He gives back to the community quite a bit.
I won't be going to that because I can't stand George Clooney and his
you know
politics.
what? Seriously, and that's the point. I used to love him.
Used to love his movies.
And I used to be able to say, I love his acting. I hate his politics. And now I can't stand him at all. It's like, it's been so long since I've gone to a movie, or I'm not even interested in it anymore.
No.
You know, you see these people that you used to say, wow, they're really great. They're a great actor. They're a great singer.
Yeah.
And they've insulted me to the core. They've insulted me. You know, and I'm not going to pay for that.
Leftist, Marxist, pushing an agenda, put a lot of people on the streets. They even have those same crisis actor websites. Okay. They even tout the fact that they can generate a crowd for you. And Hillary Clinton can hire a whole bunch of people to come fill a stadium to make it look like she has a bunch of supporters, when in fact she doesn't.
That's right.
They actually buy from these crowdsourcing people. They buy crowds. And they push an agenda on a fake, illusionary type of protest that doesn't represent the majority view. It doesn't. They don't have busloads of people filling NFL stadiums. Those are families that they work hard and they're supporting their team, but individually they're filling those seats. American families are. And you start throwing politics, or with the tens of millions of dollars that they're making, you're taking a knee in the face of Americans that are busting their hump, and the majority of them have people that have served in the military, if not had family members who have died. And you're going to take a knee and disrespect the American flag, and then call us a bunch of Nazi nationalist white people? Come on. Seriously. You know what we're going to do? The same thing exists here in this LGBT thing and the leftist Marxist thing, where they're trying to push off their abortion agenda on us. I mean, you pick one. We can go on and on with all of their agendas from a minority view that they're trying to push off on the rest of Christian Americans, right? Planned Parenthood, okay? Don't push your crap on me. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, if you didn't kill the 50 million babies, you'd probably have more voters. You wouldn't be struggling as bad.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? So, let's go to the phones and let somebody else rant for a little bit. What do you think?
Just for a minute.
Yeah, just for a minute. In the 301 area code. Hold on one second. Please tell me I'm okay on the back line here. 301, are you white people? Come on. Oh, no. Seriously.
Are you
know what
kidding
we're gonna
me?
do? The same thing exists
No,
here.
it's been
in this LGBT
spewed through double.
thing,
Don't worry
the
about it. Hold on a
leftist
second. I'm
Marxist
struggling
thing, where they're trying to
He's
push off
struggling. He's
their
struggling with
abortion
technical
agenda on us. I mean,
difficulties.
you pick one. We
Because
can
I got so
we can go
many
on and
streams
on
going out.
with
Hold
all
on a
their
second.
agendas
Stand
from
by.
a minority. Yeah, they won't even give me the mute button. Hey, can you hear me? Who do we have in the 301 area code?
Hey, this is Thinking Critical.
Oh, hey
what's
there,
up,
buddy?
dude? It's great to have you back.
How are you, man?
Already view
I'm
that
so
they're trying
glad
to push
you're
off.
on radio.
Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this. Thank you. I apologize for those of you that were on the back line. I actually didn't have that one thing muted. So, Thinking Critical, what's up, man?
Hey, man, I'm glad to hear your voice. I'm glad you're out.
Oh, it's great to hear your voice. I missed you, man. Seriously, you've been with us through. What episode did you start listening to us at?
I guess your first one last week.
No. I mean,
Or
way
you-
back when.
years
It was
ago.
the first one last week. But how far back do you go? What episode number do you remember tuning into the Pete Santilli show?
I don't know numbers, but I know it was after the Bundy Ranch thing, because I'm like, who is that guy that was at Bundy Ranch? That's the guy I want to talk to. That dude's got balls.
Oh.
You know, so
Thank
I've
you.
been following you at least since then. And I think it was the time when the White House had those two people come in to the party that weren't invited, kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Remember that?
Remember that Matilda and
the man and the woman.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the dude who used to own the winery in Virginia and stuff. That's about the time I started listening to you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you've been with us for a long time. Okay, so listen, you've been listening to us for a long time. So Deb said that a troll said, "Oh, you're so infantile, or sometimes you goof off too much." Dude, we have covered, even since you've been listening, some of the most important stories of our lifetime on right here.
Yes, you have.
Right?
And I'm so glad we're going to talk Saudi Arabia tonight.
Yeah, we're going to talk Saudi Arabia. We're going to have Walid Shoebat. Who other than Walid Shoebat to talk Saudi Arabia? And Pastor Irvin Baxter from a biblical Armageddon perspective. We're going to have him on when we get him rescheduled. But these guys are very well studied. They know what's going on and what's at stake there in the Middle East. This is big stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to hear that. Hey, I did want to jump on the Me Too Twitter bandwagon, and I have to say, Pete, I'm real disappointed that when we were in D.C., you molested me with your bullhorn in front of the White House.
I molested you in what way?
With your bullhorn.
With your bullhorn in front of the White House. I didn't want to say anything, but I just wanted to jump on this bandwagon now.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what? File a freaking complaint, okay? Go. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna troll you with Harvey Weinstein's Black Ops IDF guys. All right, go ahead. File a lawsuit against me. I'll have you trolled. Hey, dude, we love you too. We missed you. And guess what? Walid Shoebat's coming up right after the top of the hour news break here. That's all we got right now. But dude, call in anytime, okay? I'll bring you on. Hey, we missed you, dude. You know that, right?
I know it. I'm around.
Yeah, we love your gear too. We need to reconvene about that. You know.
I love mine.
You know, man, I'm always ready.
Wearing it all the time.
We have your number. We're going to give you a call.
All right.
Oh, see, we have so many great listeners.
We do.
Stay right there. We'll be right back, you guys.
The Pete Santilli Show, telling you the truth whether you like it or not.
Why do people order Life Change Tea? Because Life Change Tea helps the digestive system. Life Change Tea helps the colon unclog. The tea also helps with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and many, many other health issues. Life Change Tea also tastes great. And Life Change Tea is not just green tea. Life Change Tea is a unique blend of 8 different herbs that go to town, cleaning your body of harmful toxins, bacteria, and parasites. Our tea is #1. Are you ready for your life change? Let the tea help you. Log on to our online store of helpful products to get your body on track. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Not all tea is equal. Read our website of all the factual testimonies that prove that Life Change Tea is working. Health is important, and our quality of life is very important. Don't wait to order. Expect a life change with Life Change Tea at Get the Tea.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump today designated North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism. The president says the North has been a bad actor since being removed from the state sponsor of terror list in 2008.
In addition to threatening the world by nuclear devastation, North Korea has repeatedly supported acts of international terrorism, including assassinations on foreign soil.
Former CIA Korea Branch Chief Bruce Klingner says the move by President Trump will put the pressure on North Korea.
This will add to really the moral suasion against North Korea's even legitimate business partners who won't want their reputation linked to not only a country that's committing terrorist acts or supporting them, but also, according to the UN Commission of Inquiry, is perpetrating crimes against humanity against its own citizens.
A second woman is accusing Senator Al Franken of groping. Correspondent Linda Kenyon has the story.
Lindsay Mentz tells CNN Franken inappropriately touched her from behind as they posed for a photo at the Minnesota State Fair. The incident reportedly happened in 2010, 2 years after the Minnesota Democrats' first term in the U.S. Senate. Mentz says the incident, in her words, made her feel gross. Senator Franken responded to CNN that he didn't remember taking the photo with Mentz, but that he feels badly that she felt disrespected.
Meanwhile, even though Alabama GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore has been accused of sexual molestation, he's still getting a lot of support from Christian conservatives.
Many of Alabama's Christian conservatives see Roy Moore as their champion. The Republican Senate candidate has long stood with Christian conservatives in Alabama. Now they are standing with him, even as he faces accusations of sexual impropriety, including the molestation of a 14-year-old girl. I'm Walter Ratliff.
The Justice Department intends to sue AT&T to stop its $85 billion purchase of Time Warner. On Wall Street, the Dow buys 72 points. This is SRN News. The Christmas wars come to France.
A nativity scene banned from public spaces. It's a story we've gotten used to here in the U.S., but this tale comes from across the ocean. A court has ruled that a manger scene set up at a town hall in the city of Béziers has to go, a violation of church-state separation. Last month, a different court decided that a cross that's part of a statue of Pope John Paul II in another French city has to come down. It's not clear who complained about the crèche or the cross. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
A former Atlanta fire chief who says he was let go for his religious beliefs is awaiting a judge's ruling. Kelvin Cochran criticized homosexuality in a book he wrote for a men's Bible study in 2013. Word got out and he was fired 2 years later. Cochran has since filed a federal lawsuit against the city and the mayor, saying his free speech and due process rights have been violated. U.S. District Judge Lee May is expected to have a decision before the end of this year. This is SRN News. Germany faces an uncertain political future as government talks fail.
The mood in Berlin is one of political confusion. The September 24 election had produced an awkward result that left Chancellor Angela Merkel's two-party conservative bloc seeking a coalition with disparate parties, the pro-business Free Democrats and the traditionally left-leaning Greens. But the Free Democrats walked out of talks on Sunday night. Merkel says her Conservatives had left nothing untried to find a solution. But it's likely to be a while before the situation is resolved. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Germany's main business group is calling on the country's mainstream political parties to show responsibility and make compromises after the failure of coalition talks. The head of the Federation of German Industry says that economic stability needs political stability. Dieter Kempf said that the German industry faces enormous challenges. More details at srnnews.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
Live from Cincinnati, Ohio, it's the Pete Santilli Show.
Okay, everybody, you wanted to hear about Saudi Arabia and what's going on in the Middle East. I could not think of a better guest to come on and speak to us about what's happening. His name is Walid Shoebat. He was, by his own admission, a radicalized Muslim who was willing to die for the cause of jihad way back then. That is before he converted to Christianity in 1994. Mr. Walid says that mainstream Muslim organizations that purport to act in the interest of our nation as loyal citizens are beyond a doubt doing quite the opposite. His mother, an American, and father, a Palestinian Arab, sent him to the United States to study at Loop College in Chicago, Illinois. That is where he says he was recruited at a hotel terror conference by Jamal Saeed, a founder of the IAP, Islamic Association of Palestine, an imam at one of the largest mosques in Chicago. He is very well studied, very well written, and does not miss a beat as it relates to what's happening in the Middle East. Okay, and there's an article that was recently published that talks about what is happening in Saudi Arabia and the implications of what is happening in Saudi Arabia, and the moves that are being made could potentially cause a disastrous, I'm calling it an implosion of the Saudi Arabian government. And I have Walid Shoebat on the line. I hope, Walid, are you there?
I'm right here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, fantastic. It's great to connect with you, sir. Now listen, I'm going to, with very limited interruptions, we have a couple of breaks here, but I want you to speak, as I know you will, very eloquently to what's happening in the Middle East, in particular, Saudi Arabia. Can you please educate our listening audience as to what's happening, what they need to pay attention to? There's so much news out there, so many different distractions, but the implications are huge, are they not?
Absolutely. You know, we have the Arab Spring, if you recall. Many Americans supported the idea in the beginning, which imploded in Iraq, imploded in Syria, which was mostly caused by NATO allies as well as Saudi Arabia, which was exporting its Wahhabist ideology throughout the region. They had the Syrian rebels. And so now we understand that this didn't work out well. We had ISIS born as a result, and Saudi Arabian Wahhabism itself began to come back to haunt the Saudi government itself. So the rise of Islamic fundamentalism came to haunt the very producer of Islamic fundamentalism. Saudi Arabia has many problems. The problems with Saudi Arabia is that it cannot survive without the oil, the barrel being $100. This used to be the past. It's no longer true.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter whether Saudi Arabia raised the prices of its barrel. It is competition because the United States was fracking and is producing oil and exporting oil, is exponentially increasing its oil production. Doesn't matter. Saudi and OPEC could not really change or halt what is happening. It used to be in the 70s that OPEC would control the oil prices and send us in a quagmire mess. You remember, I don't know if you recall, in the 70s.
Yes, I do.
I remember even I worked at a gas station. It was called FedMart, California. And it was odds and even numbers. Why? Because you had the Yom Kippur War, Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And the OPEC raised the prices, and it was a mess. Well, the United States has woken up since, and since 2013 began to increase its production. And now Saudi Arabia is caught between a rock and a hard place. There are many competition in the Middle East. The two competitors in the Middle East would be Iran and Turkey. Those are competing regions to control the entire region. The Saudi Arabians have a history of animosity towards the Shiite Iranians. This is something that is historic. It's never ended. The Turks also, who the Saudis depended on to save them, abandoned Saudi Arabia and collaborated with Iran. Now, of course, the only mechanism that will aid the Saudis to cause panic is a rise in oil prices. How is that going to happen? War. And so they had a skirmish with the Houthis. These are Shiite militias in Yemen. That didn't help the Saudis, because the moment they started the war with the Houthis, it's been 2 years, and it's a quagmire, because Saudis are not good in battle on the ground. They have to use Air Force. Well, again, also, if it wants to conduct any strikes on Iran, it needs precision bombing. And the U.S. has, exported tons of weaponry to Saudi Arabia, except they wanted more precision bombing, and the United States says no way. And they made the excuse that, they are not trained in this sophisticated weaponry. And so far, Saudi Arabia cannot conduct a war with Iran. Secondly, Iran has a terrain that is absolutely very difficult terrain. Even the Romans couldn't defeat the Persians historically, as the only empire that was not defeated by the Romans was Persia. Persia is not easily conquered. Persia fought a war. The Iranians fought a war with Saddam Hussein, if you recall, in the 80s, in which they suffered 1 million casualties in the war, and Iraq could not defeat Iran. And so it was a wash, that war. So the only thing that is going to play is rumors of war. So then you had the Saudi government concocting a coup idea, that there was a coup against the Saudi regime by many of the wealthy, Walid bin Talal and others. These were arrested, and they tried to take their monies, because the Saudi coffers, because of the low oil price, that's all it exports is oil. Oil is Saudi Arabia. That's the only thing that it exports. That's the only thing it can survive on. So it needed the money. So they basically wanted to steal the money from the wealthy Saudis. But that doesn't work either, because a lot of the Saudi wealth is held overseas in banks, Cayman Island and Switzerland and so on and so forth. Plus, if the Saudi government takes the hotels and buildings and whatever the capital these people have, they must sell it to people from overseas. Who's going to give the money? Wealthy Saudis. Well, the money is being taken away. And so who's going to purchase land in Saudi Arabia or buildings in Saudi Arabia? And especially with the turmoil that's going on. Secondly, it will spread the rumor in the Saudi people that the government is selling Saudi Arabia to foreigners. That would not be acceptable. You have a Wahhabist, a religious institution. So the Saudi government has a really difficult role between surviving and pleasing the Wahhabi institution. If you recall, just recently, they allow women to drive. That's becoming a problem for the Saudi government. Why are they doing this? It's not because all of a sudden they love women and they want to give freedom to women. No, it's because it recognizes the only way for Saudi Arabia to survive is to get off the oil and bring foreign investment into the country. And to bring foreign investment, you have to have freedom, liberty, sort of like the United States and Europe. You can't do this in Saudi Arabia. So it's caught between a rock and a hard place. It's impossible for Saudi Arabia to get out of the quagmire. The Turks aren't coming to their aid. The Iranians are uniting with the Turks, which is another also very interesting issue to discuss.
Certainly is.
And what's going to shape and how it's going to shape the Middle East. And of course, the Turks have an animosity against the Saudi Arabians because Americans who read the news about Saudi Arabia don't understand the real history. Under Sharif Hussein, that's during the British Mandate, they fought against the Turks. And the Turks even fought the Saudis, even shelled the Kaaba itself, which is the holiest spot for all Muslims. And the Black Stone was crushed even during that era. If you ever look into the Black Stone itself, it was put together with wires, silver and golden wires, and this whole notion of a Sunni Shiite divide, that what most Americans think, it's a Sunni Shiite divide, always going to be killing each other. Well, that's not the case when it comes to Turkey. Turkey is Sufi Muslim. Sufi Islam tends to be very much close and has kinship with the Shiite version of Islam. They have Al-Hassan al-Hussein, the same as the Sufi versus the Shia, who are the grandsons of Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, the sons of Muhammad, who were killed by the Sunnis of Saudi Arabia. And they have kinship over these issues between Turkey and Iran. Let's not forget even the ruling government in Iran is mostly Azeri Turks. So there's a kinship not just from a religious perspective, but from a racial perspective. And so to look around for friends, Saudi Arabia only has Israel. This is why you see no animosity between Saudi Arabia and the state of Israel. Israel fears Iran, and if Saudi Arabia collaborates with Israel in interfering in Iran, that doesn't bode well for the Saudis. Plus, Russia is an ally of Iran as well. So how are the Saudis going to kind of have any wars or rumors of war with Iran when Russia will basically intervene in the issue to support Iran? So that means another major superpower will go against the Saudis, and that would be Russia. Russia will always stand with Iran, its ally. And so with its failure to spread the Wahhabist version of Islam, and with ISIS being done with the Wahhabi version, there is a rise of Sufi Islam. Most Americans, when they think of Islam, they think of Wahhabi Islam. When they used to think of Iraq, they used to think Iraq as a terrorist state. Let's just get rid of Saddam Hussein and things will be better. Well, we got rid of Saddam Hussein. What happened? Chaos. When the Arab Spring erupted, most Americans supported the Arab Spring. And I was telling the news from the beginning. I was on Fox News saying, no, this is a bad idea. And guess what? It was a bad idea indeed. You had the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood take over of Egypt. You had ISIS being born. You had threats to the United States. You had terrorism galore in Europe and the U.S. by ISIS and ISIS supporters and lone wolves and what have you. And so anytime you meddle with the Middle East, you have to be very careful in understanding the demography, what shapes the Middle East, and the history behind the Middle East, and the history behind these superpowers in the region. And, of course, the United States is pulling slowly out of the Middle East and giving the supervision of the Middle East to Turkey. Turkey is the second largest army in NATO, which is really more dangerous than Wahhabi Islam. In fact, Sufi Islam, which most Americans think is the peaceful form of Islam, is the most dangerous form of Islam, more than even Wahhabi Islam. Because Sufi Islam extends its tentacles to the Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. There's in Egypt, Egyptian Muslims are most largely Sufis. And so Sufi Islam had really been the power behind jihad in history,
Walid, I have a quick question for you. Yeah. Was the Arab Spring in Egypt that we Americans were cheering on, was that not the most destabilizing event that's caused all the chaos that exists right now in the Middle East?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But who was behind it? Was NATO. NATO began to attack Libya. Muammar al-Qaddafi was no more. Hillary Clinton was laughing and mocking when Muammar al-Qaddafi was being skewered in his anus with a stick, if you remember that scene.
Yes.
And Muammar al-Qaddafi, he was not a threat to the United States. I remember Reagan, send a couple jets and hit Muammar al-Qaddafi, and he was okay. I have no problem with the United States. He was absolutely neutral. There was, of course, the Lockerbie, bombing. That wasn't the works of Muammar al-Qaddafi. That was the works of terrorists from Libya. But however, that may be, Libya or Muammar al-Qaddafi was no terrorist. He was not just like Saddam Hussein. He wasn't involved with Islamic terrorism. So everything that was, being considered by many Americans as a threat was not really the threat. The threat was what the United States aided and abetted in Libya, Force 17, which took over, and the rebels and so on and so forth. Now, Libya is fractured into two kind of governments, one supported by the U.S. and one kind of is a renegade government on its own. And so Libya is in shambles. Syria is in major shambles. Egypt had to kind of pull itself together with a Sisi takeover of the government, and it doesn't bode well for many of the Christians living in the region. Most of the Christians in the region have immigrated and left, and so there's no care for the Christians. And today, under the Trump administration, we think that there's no longer persecution. In fact, we plummeted in support because many people have the sense that there is no longer Christian persecution, which is not true whatsoever. In fact, Christian persecution exceeds any other time in past history in the Middle East. Churches are being destroyed left, right, and center, even in Egypt under Sisi. Christians, the Coptic Christians, are not boding well. They're really being mistreated, even under the Egyptian government, which we think is somewhat a stabilized government. But you have now the Muslim Brotherhood itself. I mean, if we think the Muslim Brotherhood, we think of Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood is now centered in Turkey. Turkey is the Muslim Brotherhood, and Turkey is a major superpower.
Walid, we're going to take a short break. Push the pause button. Let's pick up right where you're leaving off right there. It's just on the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, you already know just in this first segment, one of the most knowledgeable people I know about the dynamics in the Middle East, especially as it relates to Saudi Arabia. And then we'll finish this thought on the other side of the break, and then let's talk about the petrodollar too, Walid, before we conclude this segment here today. You guys will be right back. Don't go away.
Hi folks, Ronnie McMullen here, talking to you about the immune system. As a talk show host, one of the major topics is health. It seems there are powers that be that want and desire the public to be sick. These are huge topics discussed in my show, but there is a way to combat this sick system. Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is an all-natural product that gently cleanses your inside, gives you more energy, and builds your immune system. All organic and a natural weapon against toxicity. Customers have been buying year supplies to make sure they're prepared and healthy. Interested? You should be. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com, or you can call us direct at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. On the Ronnie McMullen Show, these topics get covered. On the Get the Tea website, these topics are addressed. Get rid of the dis before ease. You'll just be left at ease. That's getthetea.com.
Despite adversity, The Pete Santilli Show is stronger than it's been since we launched our first episode in April 2011. If you're hearing this message, you're obviously connected via the powerful reach of our show. With over 22 years of internet marketing experience, we've got what it takes to help you develop a campaign that will successfully broadcast your business to millions of viewers and listeners worldwide. We've got big plans in the near future to expand our audience and educate the growing number of citizen journalists trying to make a difference in the world we live in. Pete's working towards syndicating the show with some of the biggest names in broadcasting, and we want to take you with us. If you're a small business owner and you'd like to advertise to our listeners across the country and around the world, please send us an email to advertise@thepetesantillishow.com today.
You know, if you were to follow a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, you'd find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment? See how Camels agree with your throat. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be.
And that commercial slot is actually available to our new advertisers that are going to be coming on in the coming days, weeks, and months. But I just find that slightly entertaining. Gives our guests a chance to also take a short break and collect their thoughts and continue on. But I'm with Walid Shoebat right now. So Walid, back to where we left off with Turkey, if we could.
Yes. Turkey is an interesting, very interesting topic. The Iranians, as you know, supported Erdogan. There was a coup last year. It's in July, I believe, this year. There was a supposed coup that erupted in Turkey, which really is a coup of a coup. In other words, the notion of creating coups in your country, in your government, gives you the chance as a prime minister or a king or a prince like in Saudi Arabia, you know, there's a coup. Guess what? He has to respond to that made-up coup with his own coup. And the same thing happened in Turkey. There was a supposed coup in Turkey in which gave the opportunity for Erdogan to remove all opponents, especially opponents who were allied to Fethullah Gulen, who is residing in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the same thing happened in Turkey. Well, you know, when it happened in Turkey, that was a boost for Turkey. Let's not forget, Turkey is or has become the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is not just an organization in the U.S. The Muslim Brotherhood is not just half of Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood now is the whole of Turkey, which is the second largest army in NATO.
I never knew that.
All Muslim Brotherhood leaders are residing in Turkey. And so Iran immediately jumped on the bandwagon and was the first country to commend Erdogan of Turkey on taking on the supposed coup makers and arrested swaths of, you know, military leaders, judges, began to revamp the schools and to implement Sharia and began to implement all kinds of issues. So now he has become the sole leader of the Turkish government. He's become, the AKP party has become Turkey, and Turkey has become the AKP party. And Erdogan is not interested in a Sunni-Shia divide. He's interested in uniting both Sunni and Shia. So he opened the pathway with Iran. Iran and Turkey began to visit each other, and now they have gas pipelines, and now they're beginning to extend their tentacles into the stands in which, you know, the Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, those countries are very much the interest of Erdogan and Turkey in the north. These are Turkic peoples. In fact, most Americans don't even understand that this kind of concept of Turkification, if you will, Ottomanization or neo-Ottomanism, if you will, extends all the way to China. You have the Xinjiang region, one state of China wants to split from China. So there's always desire to split from governments is extended not just from the Middle East. Now it's also in Europe. You have in Spain, you know, a conflict in which one region wants to split from Spain. You have the Lega Nord in Italy wants to split from Italy. You have in the Middle East, you have the Kurds want to create a state. You have all kinds of things, all kinds of issues. You have a Palestinian state. They want to basically slash Israel in half and take and create a Palestinian state. So this kind of ethnic splitting is going to get the whole world in turmoil.
Walid, I have one quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt your flow, but this is important. This is one thing I do know. Our military-industrial complex is deeply, deeply entrenched with Turkey. So how has that relationship been impacted? Because it doesn't seem like it's wavered in any way, shape, or form. Has it?
It'll never waver. It'll never waver. In fact, from Quincy Adams, you will find statements by the U.S. government in support of Ottoman Turkey against Russia, because we have thought that Russia is the main enemy. And so because Turkey and Russia has been always at each other's throat, historically speaking, they were at war. In fact, it was Russia, finally, that worked on defeating the Ottoman Empire and bringing the world to stabilization. And so the U.S. sees Russia as the big superpower that is in competition with it. And so to the United States, Russia is the problem, and whatever the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so who is the enemy of Russia? It would be Turkey in this case. But Turkey and Russia has made, amends. If you recall, they downed a Russian plane, the Turks did, and Erdogan apologized, and they made amends. But that doesn't last. That will not last. Eventually, there will be problems between Turkey and Russia, especially over Syria, the issue of Syria, Tartus. And you have the Mediterranean, the flow of ships in the Mediterranean. Russia has to have an inroads into the sea, into the Mediterranean Sea. So they work with the Syrian government, and they will work with the Turks. But however, the United States' arch enemy is Russia. And this, to me, is a problem, because to me, the problem is Islam and Islamism. And that is going to be the big problem. Russia is basically Orthodox Christian. It's not going to become the problem for the United States except in competitive issues. But Russia is not a major threat, as in China. Most Americans think China is a major threat, or even North Korea is a major threat. I don't see these as major threats. China.
Back to. I'm sorry. Again, sorry to interrupt your flow. How about? And I mentioned the petrodollar. Is it not true that China and Russia are interested in destabilizing the petrodollar? So they have oil interests as well. So does that not make them dangerous if they've got those same oil interests that are pushing on the other side, on the Saudi Arabian and the U.S. side and the Israeli side?
Yes, but it's China that cannot survive without oil. Russia can survive without oil. China is desperately in need of Saudi oil. So China would tend to be a stabilizer if there is ever a problem between Saudi Arabia and Iran, because that would threaten its oil supply. It cannot, oil is the blood life of China, just like it's the blood life of the U.S. and any other country. So without oil, China is doomed. So China will be very much against its own interest to have any wars in the Middle East, or even war with the United States, or even issues with the United States. China has, name me in history when China ever declared war on anybody. Japan. However, Japan, and this is something that I have a problem every time I speak to fellow Americans, is the issue of Japan. They seem to like Japan these days. Shinzo Abe is reverting back to emperor worship and to the kamikaze, going to the graves of kamikazes and honoring kamikazes and so on and so forth. So what Shinzo Abe of Japan needs is something like North Korea. That will give Shinzo Abe and the Japanese government the excuse to make formidable military weapons. Let's not forget, Japan can defeat China with no problem because it has the military sophistication. North Korea can be taken out if you blast their bases, their nuclear bases. They cannot launch these nuclear weapons and threaten the U.S. at all. So I don't think that North Korea and China is the problem. That's, let's go back to recent history. When Americans thought that Saddam Hussein was the problem, we told them, no, he's not the problem. We were right. When we said that the Arab Spring is a Muslim spring, they said, no. Facebook, Twitter, everything is saying that this is going to be something great, and guess what happened? Disaster happened. And now that we see splittings in Europe, we see them coming out of the EU, we say, no, this is not good, because that's going to raise the neo-Nazis even in Europe, growth of neo-Nazism in Europe. And I like to look at American history. American history fought Nazism. It fought Japan. How do Americans forget so fast? What the Krauts did and what the Japanese did to Americans. I mean, those are definite enemies, not friends. And all of a sudden, there's an easy kind of belief that, what's going on in Europe is good, and it's the same thing. It's not good, and we're saying it's not good because it has a potential to rise old enemies, not Nazism in its oldest form, but a different kind of a form. There's been abandonment of Christianity in Europe, and there's been an influx, especially in the northern parts of Europe, even all the way to Norway, towards neo-paganism. Is that something good?
No, certainly not.
I thought that America is a Christian country. I thought that we're supposed to be, a light to all nations. With what? With the Christian ethics, And so I see that, the world thinks we're at peace now, especially under the Trump administration. We think, things are just hunky-dory. I am more concerned when the world thinks things are hunky-dory than I am concerned when the world thinks that we're going to have a war with North Korea. Those are rumors of war. When you're concerned about war, it's usually rumors of war. And when everybody thinks it's peace, it's Pearl Harbor. It's a sudden attack. It's something that a wake-up call of a kind that will basically shake us to oblivion. And I'm very concerned. Armaments build up, and Germany is now seeking more armaments build up. And countries like Germany and Japan, we had good control over in Europe because we did not allow the Germans to seek any military, because we, with the Russians, split Germany in half. East Germany was Russia, West Germany under the control of the U.S. and other NATO allies. And now we're saying, no. Reagan says, Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Many Americans will be excited about Reagan saying, Gorbachev, tear down that wall. It's unpatriotic to think that Reagan was wrong in that one. I think he was. I think that will, in the long run, that will come to haunt us, because Germany has always been interested, historically speaking. Name me one time in Germany that the Germans were not expansionists from the beginning of the Roman Empire till now. The Germans have colluded with the Turks. Germany has colluded with the Turks. We think now Merkel and Erdogan don't like each other. But if we look at the current government, they basically support Erdogan. They basically say, no, we're not going to condemn Erdogan over what he's doing, especially with the immigration issue. So we have an influx of Syrian immigrants into Europe, and we say this is the main problem. Well, that's not the main problem. The main problem is not the influx of immigrants into Europe. The main problem is the breakdown of the European Union. And if the European Union is broken apart and each has its own currency, we're going to have animosities within European states. We're going to have issues, and look at Catalonia. Many Americans would support what's happening in Catalonia. I don't. I think the Catalonian splitting from Spain is going to weaken Spain. Is that something good for us? No, it's not going to be good. It's going to cause civil wars and civil unrest in Europe. Europe was a key ally of the United States. So, uncertainty and instability in Europe is going to cause instability all over the world. It's a major, major hub of world economy, and that's Europe.
Walid, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I was just, so I think that the problem is more than just Islam, more than just ISIS. ISIS created an excuse, for what? Every time Shinzo Abe wants to basically undermine what has been chiseled in the Japanese constitution, and that is Japan is never going to be allowed to have armaments, they're going to say, the threat of ISIS or the threat of Korea. So the ISIS scenario has been used as an excuse for all kinds of agendas. And so we have to understand what created ISIS, really. It was Al-Qaeda, all of a sudden it becomes ISIS. What created that? Libya, Syria, Egypt. Well, who intervened in Egypt, Libya, and Syria? The United States. The United States intervened in Libya. Hillary Clinton intervened in Libya. NATO intervened in Libya. who created the mass immigration. It was the interference, Pretty much Al-Qaeda was in Tora Bora in Afghanistan. It was isolated, Bin Laden was killed. And terrorism was, it was terrorism, but it wasn't at a peak. So with the interference in the Middle East and giving the Middle East basically to be supervised by Turkey and aiding the Syrian rebels, you had McCain, he was down there aiding the Syrian rebels, and we were aiding the Syrian rebels. Who are the rebels?
Walid,
the Islamists.
Yes, and Walid, I just reported a couple days ago that the BBC reported that in Raqqa that the English, that the UK and the US gave warning to ISIS to evacuate Raqqa, gave them safe passage out of Raqqa, gave ISIS rebels safe passage out. So we've been supporting ISIS if we didn't just fabricate it all on our own to begin with. Is that not true?
Yeah, absolutely true. The U.S. government aids and abets all kinds of things. It's no secret they aided and abetted the rebels themselves.
Jeez.
Raqqa was a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's no secret even when Nazism was defeated, many of the Nazis and the heads of the Nazis came to the United States. They were given free passage to the United States. In fact, the United States boosted the German economy right after that because they wanted something to support the dollar. So they boosted both Japan and Germany, the very enemies of the United States. They boosted them. So this is something that we have to understand as Americans. The government isn't interested in the American people. They're interested in basically bamboozling the American people to think, of an enemy. The war in Iraq, all of a sudden, they claim that Iraq has, building nuclear weapons, Iraq has chemical weapons, and then everybody went and supported the war, So the American people are easily bamboozled, Even the American government is easily bamboozled. Look at Iran. Iran told the United States to enter into Iraq.
Yeah. Well, let's take one. Let's take one more break. We'll come back. But I was just going to say, how can even President Trump, with a straight face, get in front of the American people and say that we're going to go fight ISIS? He has to know that the gig is up. That the American people, like us, especially sharing awareness with our listening audience here, that we understand what's happening. We'll come back and continue this discussion right after this with Walid Shoebat. Go to shoebat.com, SHOEBAT.com, for more information. Constantly putting out material. You can get educated about what's happening in the Middle East. We'll be right back.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger-looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Despite adversity, The Pete Santilli Show is stronger than it's been since we launched our first episode in April 2011. If you're hearing this message, you're obviously connected via the powerful reach of our show. With over 22 years of internet marketing experience, we've got what it takes to help you develop a campaign that will successfully broadcast your business to millions of viewers and listeners worldwide. We've got big plans in the near future to expand our audience and educate the growing number of citizen journalists trying to make a difference in the world we live in. Pete's working towards syndicating the show with some of the biggest names in broadcasting, and we want to take you with us. If you're a small business owner and you'd like to advertise to our listeners across the country and around the world, please send us an email to advertise@thepetesantillishow.com today.
Hi, but not too high. This is George Carlin. I'm sitting here. I have on a yellow hat, a pink shirt, dark sunglasses, and an earring in my ear. And I'm going to tell you not to get into heavy drugs. Well, it sounds bizarre, I know, but there are other things to do with your life, other things to help you make it. Heavy drugs make it all worse, and they help you die.
You're listening to The Pete Santilli Show. One small step for man, one giant leap towards the truth.
We're back for this final segment with Walid Shoebat. Walid, how can President Trump, with a straight face, he has to know, but when you say that that even people within the American government are bamboozled, is he one of them as the commander in chief? Is the military-industrial complex fomenting war for those same oil interests that the Saudi Arabians are doing right now?
You know, that question is a good one for my son Theodore Shoebat. He's really gets into this kind of thing. You know, many Americans think that the president, commander-in-chief, has the key in his hands, you know. But there's the CIA, there's banking, there is the wealthy, there is Silicon Valley, there is all kinds of conglomerates also involved. They're the movers, the shakers of what goes on, not just President Trump. You know, President Trump. In fact, if you look at all American history, it doesn't matter whether you have a Democrat or a Republican in office when it comes to foreign policy. It's always the same policy. Ever notice that? Nothing changed in foreign policy.
Certainly not.
From Obama versus Trump. Tell me one thing that's changed when it comes to foreign policy. Obama would do the same thing about North Korea, would say the same things about North Korea. Obama would say the same things about Syria, the same things. You know, although I'd say President Trump was more lenient on Bashar al-Assad of Syria, but it's still the same policy. Nothing changed when it comes to the Middle East. When it comes to the U.S., presidents changed, but foreign policy never changes. And that gets us to conclude that the president really has not much to do when it comes to foreign policy. It is other entities, the CIA, you know, the controlling elites in this country, eugenists. You know, you have a problem with eugenists in this country. You know, look, Nazi Germany didn't learn about eugenists from the Germans. They imported it from California, from the United States, from Pasadena, from conglomerates in the United States that are eugenists. And as Christians, we don't support eugenists. There's calls for abortion, experimentation, and human embryos and things of that sort. That's not Christian. That's really evil in our view. And so you look at the U.S. history it's always, you know, basically inadvertently or advertently created monsters that we finally had to put out. You know, we're creating a monster in Turkey, Erdogan, and you know, we should stand against what's going on in Turkey. But no, we're focused more on Russia. We're focused more on Putin. We're focused more on supposed threats by Russia against Europe, and the supposed threats are causing these governments to basically arm themselves more and become more independent from the U.S. Look, Turkey has a plan, 2023. 2023, they will become completely independent from importing weapons from the United States and make their own jets, they'll make their own tanks, they'll make their own, you know. So Japan wants to do the same thing. Notice lately, everybody has a vision. Turkey has Vision 2023. Norway has a Vision 2030. Saudi Arabia has a Vision 2030. What are these visions? We got to take a look at these visions. Saudi Arabia wants to basically become independent from being a producer of oil to doing something else. Norway wants to eliminate its dependency on oil. It wants to use, you know, solar and electric cars and so on and so forth. The world is changing dramatically and very, very fast. Even Turkey is getting into robotics. And what are these robotics going to be used for? It's going to be used for warfare. You know, don't go further from the cell phone that you have. It was all basically researched for one purpose, military. And so we think that the reason we invent things is for the sole purpose that we have a consumption of cell phones and Apple computers. No, it's about military capabilities. And so with military capabilities, you're going to have in the future robots that would kill masses of people, and there's no way you can stop them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all being, maneuvered towards manless operated mechanism to kill, period. War is about killing. And so with the unrest that you see happening in Europe, in France, there's unrest all the time. There's rise of neo-Nazi, there's rise of neo-paganism, all the way to the Slavic nations. There's rise of Islamism, Sufi Islamism. You know, I tend to think that the world is in a collision course here. And, you know, I wouldn't say next year or the year after. I would say by 2023 or 2024, we're going to begin to see a different world than the world that we were used to. We're going to begin to see the Z generation rising. And me and you come from the little older school.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be on the wayside. And those guys are going to be in control. And things are not going to be the same at all.
You know, let's go back to the Saudi Arabians and this radical, volatile shift in change. The Crown Prince taking charge and forcing this change and causing such a radical shift from the old regime, seizing billions and billions of dollars in funds and assets. What is that going to do to we want a stable Saudi Arabia, do we not? And it's not very stable right now.
You know, if you asked me prior to 2013, absolutely. But past 2013, every year, we're increasing our oil production. OPEC used to produce 55% of world oil export.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's only exporting 40% of world oil. What's happening? It's diminishing. And so it doesn't matter to us. Saudi Arabia would not matter to us one iota because the only thing they have is oil, and we have plenty of it. So Saudi Arabia, and rightfully so, it needs to be doomed, in my opinion, because it created Wahhabism. It created lots of problems for the people around the world. It was exporting Islamism, madrasas, and all kinds of things. It's time for it to end. And who's going to end it? It's going to be Iran. So Iran eventually, and this is going to happen for sure, Iran will eventually strike Saudi Arabia. Look, they launch from the Houthis in Yemen missiles all the time. They nearly hit Mecca. They nearly hit Riyadh airport. They nearly, pretty soon they're going to hit Mecca. And guess what? Is that going to make me upset? For you upset? No, it's not going to make us upset. In fact, everybody will rejoice. If the Muslim world truly cares about Mecca, as they claim, then why didn't the Muslim world do anything when, historically speaking, the Ottomans shelled the Kaaba? Even before that, historically, Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf al-Thaqafi, Muslim who invaded Mecca, he catapulted this before even we had rockets and bombs. They catapulted the Kaaba itself. So the Iranians view that things need to shift, that Karbala needs to become the holy place for all Muslims. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but the Turks have an allegiance towards the Shia, and the Shia have allegiance towards the Sufi brethren. Those are the two major superpowers in the region, and they are both in agreement. The issue is going to be Israel. Israel is going to be sandwiched between the Turkish animosity and the Persian animosity, the Iranians. And so if Israel is going to be affected, that's going to be affecting the entire Middle East and the global war. Of course, we as Christians believe that Jerusalem is a central focus of the prophetic word. If you get into the prophetic issues about Christians, we think Jerusalem is a key issue. And if Jerusalem is threatened, the whole world is in a mess. And so I don't foresee that there is any way the U.S., Trump, or whoever going to move any piece of the chips in this chess game that's going to change anything. Everything is under check. Saudi is under check. Israel is under checkmate. Egypt is under checkmate by Turkey. So in Europe you will have checkmating between Germany, which depends on exports as well. Germany solely depends on exports, just like Saudi Arabia. But the United States is no problem because we pretty much have some 50 states. We export and import with each other, and so we don't depend on global export as much as countries like Germany or like Japan or like China. I mean, China is in big trouble if we ever get into a depression or a recession. China is always hit hard. Their economy is hit hard. The income in China is what, $1,000 a year. So the problem is going to be solely in Europe, the Middle East. Those trio, I'd say, Germany, Japan, and Turkey,
so Walid,
are going to be the main threats.
Walid, this is all by design. There are economic forces, there are checkmates. It has kept relative stability in that we haven't had world war in our lifetimes. But what are the unintended consequences that you foresee here of this thing that's sprouting up in the Middle East, or is this all by design as well, including war?
Yeah, I believe it's by design. And I don't believe things that happen accidentally or by mistake. There are forces at power that believe that they are super people, There are people who believe that a certain race are super people. What makes anybody super over the other is not the race, it is the behavior. And so they believe that they can basically master the world and they basically can come with a Superman. What is abortion about? What is eugenics about? What is evolution about? It's about creating a Superman. It's about, why are we aborting kids with problems? They have a problem. Get an abortion. Your kid is going to come out with mental disorders. Give him an abortion. What's that about? That's not about getting rid of the world from ailments. It's about creating a super race. I want my child to be absolutely 100% healthy. American society has always been for the underdog, not the super dog. So the people in general, American people, are okay. They're good people. They're not for the super dog. They're for the underdog. Well, the other side thinks it's for the super dog. And so they have a eugenist movement. And in fact, Islam itself is very, very eugenist. A lot of the collaboration that goes on. In fact, take a look at some of the articles that Theodore wrote just recently about what's going on between Turkey and the Europeans. And he names the conglomerates from Japan to Turkey to Europe of all these things that are sprouting about making collaboration with eugenists and building robots, military robots, and so on and so forth. What's going on? This is the government of Germany involved, not just some conglomerate here. Why do the Muslims support eugenics? Well, it's because in Islam, the gestation period of the fetus is 120 days before the soul goes into the fetus. Christianity believes that life begins at the moment of conception. That's not the way it is in Islam. So in Islam, you can have, in other words, abortion. So most people have misconceptions about Islam. They say, or about the Turks or about Turkey. Who killed the Armenians? Why did they kill the Armenians? Because they were just Muslim fundamentalists? No, because they were eugenists. Eugenists are usually racist. They believe in their super race. And so this is, by the way, spreading in the U.S. with the alt-right, many of the alt-right movement, many neo-Nazis, and so on and so forth. We're having a hard time even trying to determine what is conservatism. Let's ask that question. What is conservative movement? It used to be years ago, the conservative movement was a Christian movement, a right-wing movement, a conservative movement. That's not true anymore. The conservative movement in the United States today supports homosexuality, supports lesbians, supports eugenics, supports, name me the person that used to be supposedly conservative. Today I will show you how he's not conservative. And I'm having many fallouts myself with many of my previous colleagues, over the issue of what conservatism.
Okay, Walid, in the remaining, if you don't mind, I'm sorry to interrupt your flow. In the remaining moments here, back to Saudi Arabia. Okay, and I'm understanding this, and I really I loved your presentation here, talking about rumors of war, ultimately to spark the increase in the barrel of oil. That didn't work. The rumors actually, and the appearance of a coup in Saudi Arabia, and the potential for war. It hasn't done what they attempted to design it to do. So what are the unintended consequences here? This puts Saudi Arabia in jeopardy, does it not?
Absolutely. The ultimate, I don't know how much of a biblicist you are. If you read Isaiah in chapter 21, it talks about Arabia. Arabia will be destroyed by who? Persia. Arise, O Persia. Elam. Elam is Persia. And so Persia will end up, or Iran will end up wiping out Saudi Arabia, even bombing Mecca, because in the Shiite concept, they believe that when Arabia rises itself in pride, in other words, it lives in luxury and licentiousness and so on and so forth, then Allah in Islam will have Karbala destroy Mecca. And so even the Sunnis understand that Mecca will be destroyed. Even the Muslim prophecies, Muhammad himself talked about Mecca being destroyed. So in essence, the Muslim world knows that Mecca is counting its days, that Arabia will completely will vanish. And that's also in the Bible. You know? So it's not far-fetched, and it will happen in a decade or two.
So what's happening and you're saying within the next decade or two. Okay. It is of biblical proportions. And, your work, Walid, I really so much appreciate it. I love having you on the show. This is going to be the last time, of course. But it's great to hear your voice. And let's, of course, encourage everybody to go to Shoebat.com. And, Walid, from here on out, I'm going to constantly link to your website and your articles. I've learned so much from it, and I so much appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
You bet. God bless.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. God bless you as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, after the top of the hour news break, taking your calls and more news.
Hi, folks. Ronnie McMullen here, talking to you about the immune system. As a talk show host, one of the major topics is health. It seems there are powers that be that want and desire the public to be sick. These are huge topics discussed in my show, but there is a way to combat this sick system. Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is an all-natural product that gently cleanses your inside, gives you more energy, and builds your immune system. All organic and a natural weapon against toxicity. Customers have been buying year supplies to make sure they're prepared and healthy. Interested? You should be. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com, or you can call us direct at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. On the Ronnie McMullen Show, these topics get covered. On the Get the Tea website, these topics are addressed. Get rid of the dis before ease. You'll just be left at ease. That's getthetea.com.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Coming right up after the news break, Pete will be taking your calls. During the live broadcast, dial 563-999-1449. That's 563-999-1449.
You're listening to The Pete Santilli Show. Pete Santilli, telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump today designated North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism. The president says the North has been a bad actor since being removed from the state sponsor of terror list in 2008.
In addition to threatening the world by nuclear devastation, North Korea has repeatedly supported acts of international terrorism, including assassinations on foreign soil.
Former CIA Korea Branch Chief Bruce Klingner says the move by President Trump will put the pressure on North Korea.
This will add to really the moral suasion against North Korea's even legitimate business partners who won't want their reputation linked to not only a country that's committing terrorist acts or supporting them, but also, according to the UN Commission of Inquiry, is perpetrating crimes against humanity against its own citizens.
A second woman is accusing Senator Al Franken of groping. Correspondent Linda Kenyon has the story.
Lindsay Mentz tells CNN Franken inappropriately touched her from behind as they posed for a photo at the Minnesota State Fair. The incident reportedly happened in 2010, 2 years after the Minnesota Democrats' first term in the U.S. Senate. Mentz says the incident, in her words, made her feel gross. Senator Franken responded to CNN that he didn't remember taking the photo with Mentz, but that he feels badly that she felt disrespected.
Meanwhile, even though Alabama GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore has been accused of sexual molestation, he's still getting a lot of support from Christian conservatives.
Many of Alabama's Christian conservatives see Roy Moore as their champion. The Republican Senate candidate has long stood with Christian conservatives in Alabama. Now they are standing with him, even as he faces accusations of sexual impropriety, including the molestation of a 14-year-old girl. I'm Walter Ratliff.
The Justice Department intends to sue AT&T to stop its $85 billion purchase of Time Warner. On Wall Street, the Dow buys 72 points. This is SRN News. The Christmas wars come to France.
A nativity scene banned from public spaces. It's a story we've gotten used to here in the U.S., but this tale comes from across the ocean. A court has ruled that a manger scene set up at a town hall in the city of Béziers has to go, a violation of church-state separation. Last month, a different court decided that a cross that's part of a statue of Pope John Paul II in another French city has to come down. It's not clear who complained about the creche or the cross. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
A former Atlanta fire chief who says he was let go for his religious beliefs is awaiting a judge's ruling. Kelvin Cochran criticized homosexuality in a book he wrote for a men's Bible study in 2013. Word got out and he was fired 2 years later. Cochran has since filed a federal lawsuit against the city and the mayor, saying his free speech and due process rights have been violated. U.S. District Judge Lee May is expected to have a decision before the end of this year. This is SRN News. Germany faces an uncertain political future as government talks fail.
The mood in Berlin is one of political confusion. The September 24 election had produced an awkward result that left Chancellor Angela Merkel's two-party conservative bloc seeking a coalition with disparate parties, the pro-business Free Democrats and the traditionally left-leaning Greens. But the Free Democrats walked out of talks on Sunday night. Merkel says her conservatives had left nothing untried to find a solution, but it's likely to be a while before the situation is resolved. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Germany's main business group is calling on the country's mainstream political parties to show responsibility and make compromises after the failure of coalition talks. The head of the Federation of German Industry says that economic stability needs political stability. Dieter Kempf said that the German industry faces enormous challenges. More details at srnnews.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
The following program may not be suitable for millennials under the age of 40. Parental discretion is strongly advised.
And now, the most offensive radio talk show host on the planet, Pete Santilli.
Where did my super chats go?
I don't know.
Oh, I was going to address the super chats and also encourage everyone to call in to 563-999-1449. 563-999-1449. If you have anything on your mind as we talk through this stuff. So the super chat, what is the super chat? Of all the channels that we broadcast out on, some of which we won't even mention because we're still getting our stuff out and we're archiving and nobody can mess with our stuff, of course.
Yes.
Well, to the best of our ability while we can until they can.
Until they can.
Yeah, until they can. But super chat, I will address even if you're a troll, especially if you're a troll. Put your money where my mouth is, okay?
Right.
Yeah. We have people drop in. I just scanned through and saw somebody's name in there that actually, while I was behind the confines of the Motel 6 walls, actually literally made a living with my name.
I know.
And it was all a freaking hoax.
Yeah.
And, if you're some corn-toothed troll off in the freaking high desert saying that, well...
What?
What? What?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm making fun of the trolls, okay?
I know. Just in general.
That's okay. Hopefully you made a lot of money on my name and my back.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hopefully you did.
I hope they did.
Good luck with that. If you want to address any questions, just pay your super chat. There isn't a question. And I'm going to say this. I will address every single troll question.
Mm-hmm.
Just be careful what you ask because you might get what you what you paid for, right?
Be careful.
Be careful. Okay. Hey, we got Freddie on the line. Fred, your health is good. You're feeling strong, and you got stuff on your mind. What's happening? Oh, hold on a second.
You're hitting the ground running here, man.
Dude, was that not a great freaking segment with Walid Shoebat?
Yeah, he was wrong on Germany, but other than that, he's a really good guy to have on.
Yeah, he's great.
But every single topic we cover, we're going to piss off somebody.
Yeah, well, no, I generally I like the interview. It was really nice, really good interview.
Yeah, very, very informative. I wanted to know about Saudi Arabia. So much stuff going on with Saudi Arabia, the implications. Before you get to your question, tell me if you agree with this. This strategy, because it's all by design. The rumors of war. Because the Saudis need to bring the price of oil up, and they've tried many different things, from coup, right, to war, and all those things, and nothing has budged the barrel of oil, and they continue to plummet in wealth. And that is fascinating topic, is it not?
Yeah, it is, but they're all getting cleared. That's a whole big rat's nest over there. They're all getting cleared out. That's a phony country, phony people, phony everything.
Yeah.
It's all going to, they ain't going to be around much longer.
Yeah. Iran is strong.
I agree with Walid on that. I think it's going to eventually go over to Iran or Syria or something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So what's on your mind? What prompted your call?
Hey, you're an ex-Marine, right?
Yes, sir.
So you still have contacts?
I do. Yeah. Oh, what's
going on with this? What's going on with this Langley thing? And I see somebody on the chat, Mr. Smith, I think, saying that it was just a drill that happened supposedly on Saturday night. I mean, even some heavyweights in the alternative news world came on and I think maybe kind of foolhardy themselves with that one.
Yeah,
Have you heard about that?
I think so, and that's probably the single most important reason why sometimes I reserve. Like people will, they'll come into the chat room and I'll say, "Why are you not talking about this?" And I immediately get my hackles up and say, "I'm not going to talk about that because you're telling me to." Because I need to step back a little bit and analyze things. Now I jumped on the whole freaking what do you call it? The Charles Manson hoax. Thanks to Deb. No, I'm not blaming it on you. But that stuff went out there. NBC News reported it.
Hours later, yeah.
Dude, then he's on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, he doesn't sound like he's on his deathbed. The following morning, I woke up and I said, I said, oh, geez. And I shouldn't have.
I love it.
All I had to do was just wait one episode. And I would have
just one.
I would have just skipped right over that evildoer, Yeah. Yeah, but the whole Langley thing right now, okay, I believe, Fred, here's the answer to the question. A lot of this stuff that gets put out there so heavily by so many different people, not that they're doing it knowingly. They think that they've got the inside source, the inside contact. And right now, I think that's where the intelligence industrial complex is cashing in and putting out disinformation. Because they're confusing everybody. They just want everyone to be so confused, you won't even pay attention to it. And talk show hosts like me will keep their mouth shut and just analyze. I'm an analyst.
Yeah, what's your opinion of Dave Hodges? He really put out a real paranoid video yesterday, and a lot of people really respect his information, and he was very concerned about your supply is just coming down and all this crap,
Well, no, I don't know what Dave Hodges said. I'm going to have Dave Hodges on the show, though. I like Dave Hodges. I've always liked him for years. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's generally a good guy. I just don't think he gets it right all the time. How about Roy Potter? He's another one that's been doing all this analysis. I know you're pretty buddy with him. How about getting him on?
I spoke to Roy Potter today. We're going to bring him on as soon as his schedule clears. I talked to him today. I said, I need to get caught up. And he said, go watch 18 hours of my videos and you should
get back with me.
Get back with me. No, I'm going to have him on because he's going to do a very effective job of distilling a lot of this stuff. I trust his analysis, and he's one person that I would say is the type of individual you would want to pump information through because he is. Yeah. And he wouldn't even know it. So he may occasionally be fed the wrong information. That's okay because he's willing to admit it. He always backtracks and says, I was wrong on this, but I'm not wrong on this. But he'll admit it. He's a very, very honest man.
I sent that video link to the bunker a couple days ago. Did you get it?
Yeah, which one was that? Because I've been getting a lot of mail lately. Not
It's
that
the
you're
Roy Potter one. It's like somebody condensed all his stuff and put it in one video. I
Yes.
think if you want to get caught up, that's the one to watch.
Dude, that's what your email. Okay, now I remember. Your email actually prompted me to pick up the phone and call Roy. I've been avoiding it because I wanted to spend more time with him. I didn't want to be in a hurry. I wanted to spend more time with him because I consider Roy to be a good friend and a regular contributor here on the show. We're going to bring him on though here in the next several days. No doubt about
Excellent. Well, that's all I got, Pete. I'll let somebody else take up the chatter.
That's it. But be careful, though. Right now, World War III is operating at the cyber level right now. It's on the internet. They're throwing out so much stuff. Everyone needs to be cautious. Don't ignore it, though, because that is the intention of them mucking the entire internet up. It's kind of like...
Yeah, I still say it's close. We're going to see something, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be on the Thanksgiving holiday. There's going to be some major announcements made.
Okay, you know what Roy told me today?
What's that?
He said maybe tomorrow. He said he's getting some signals or signs. We don't know, but I'm saying this for the record because, boy, he'll be on tomorrow night if it happens tomorrow. This is what I did tell him. Anytime major breaking news happens and he's sharing information from us and he gets a tip or a lead, that he's going to come on for some analysis. So you can expect that he's going to be a regular contributor on the show. He agreed to do that. And I feel very honored. Yep.
That's going to be a killer show. I mean, you guys are really getting some really good people connected, and if they can have regular input, that would be great. That would just be awesome for your show.
Yeah, we're going to, hey, what do you think of, let me ask you this, because I love this guy. It doesn't matter if you say, I can't stand him, and we're not going to, then I'm going to tell you which episodes to tune out on. I'm going to have, actually, he's a great guy. Everybody likes him. His name is Bobby Powell. Do you like Bobby Powell?
Yeah, from what I heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I like him.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing Bobby Powell on. This isn't just to grill you, to let our listening audience know. Bobby Powell's going to be a regular on the show. I love Bobby Powell, like a brother. Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a great friend to you too while you were at the Motel 6.
Goodness, you guys can't even imagine how that guy stood with me no matter what. I mean, he was the independent media that I referred to that needed to be there at a time when I needed it most. And he was not deterred in any way, shape, or form. He stood up.
Yeah, he had those terrible personal tragedies too. I guess his wife and his daughter.
Yes. It's just a terrible, heartbreaking story about what's happened in his life. But he remains optimistic about the future, and I remain optimistic about his future here with the Pete Santilli Show. So, Fred, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right, talk to you later, Pete.
Okay, all right, take care.
Yep.
The number's 563-999-1449. Joe, did somebody, okay, I wasn't on YouTube or no, I won't tell out, no worries. Joe Leos, my brother from the Marine Corps, got kicked out of a chat room somewhere. Which chat room did he get kicked out of?
He was kicked out of a chat room.
Yeah, what? He said I got bounced.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that I'm sorry to interrupt our flow here, but that's not good. Joe Leos he's a great guy, and Deb didn't kick him out. I didn't kick him out. Certainly not. So,
as a matter of fact, I pinned his comment to the top of our Facebook
you did?
chat.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, Joe, if you're still listening, shoot, I need to connect with you. I can't type right now because that just makes really crappy radio when I go silent. Just typing away.
Right.
But let's see what we got. Thorne in the Rose, CBS anchor, accused and suspended. Okay. Let's talk about those topics that we were talking about before. We're going to pick up where we left off, and we'll wait for your calls at 563-999-1449 when I come back off of these topics. People are willingly. They're so, I call it an internet illness. You know that. The Facebook illness that we're talking about, a large portion of our planet is suffering from it.
Yeah.
Monstrous portion of our planet.
Too.
Yeah. Could you imagine if, tomorrow, if they turned off Facebook, I think half of the world population would go crazy.
Yeah.
Just psychologically, right?
I think they would lose it.
They
live their life on the internet. We all do.
Yeah, we all do. And it is for the purposes of receiving that shot of dopamine, right? That they know exists, and they've designed this entire system to do that. Yeah. Why? To mess with your brain and get the dopamine? No, because it's advertising dollars. Right?
It is. And it doesn't matter whether you are an evil person on the internet or whether you are a good person on the internet. You know, they're getting your advertising dollars.
Socially, we're getting absolutely destroyed and pummeled, you know, because people now in real life are starting to treat each other. People are trolling each other out in the middle of the street too, aren't they?
It's starting to take on a life of its own, even outside the internet. People are starting to act
life is
in
changing.
public,
Yes,
the way they do on the internet, and that is scary.
We are going to go through multiple phases. Okay, obviously everyone, and I call it phone face. Everyone's got their face in their phones. And they're walking around.
Including us.
They don't interact, including us.
Yes.
Right. And I use that term. Hey, you got your face stuck in your phone. You know, it's the phone face thing.
The phone face.
Yeah, but it's something that we're all suffering from.
Yeah, sure.
And we're addicted to it. We can't get away from it. Okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be another phase. And here's the next phase. And I thought this was important. Why people will happily line up to be microchipped like dogs. No matter what you tell them, they're going to line up and do it. No matter what you tell them about information flow, the freedoms, you could say that it's a government surveillance tool. Facebook, in fact, is, you know, there's a cozy relationship between government and the intelligence agencies.
Sure.
You can't tell them.
It is a law enforcement tool.
Give up your dopamine and go somewhere else.
Right.
Even if I started a new website, you're not going to leave Facebook. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not the solution. So here we are knowing all these things, and we won't stop clicking for that shot of dopamine.
Yeah,
we won't stop, right?
Yeah. And the really evil people of this world have found a home there too. You know, it's not discriminatory. You can be evil and exist on the internet, and you can get that shot of dopamine, you know, by just being mean and evil to other people.
I agree.
Yeah. And so it goes both ways. What's really sad is I see a lot of people, a lot of really, really good people being just absolutely obliterated by mean people. It's sometimes when you watch it and you just sit back and you watch what's happening, it's like a junior high playground, one of the most evil places on the earth. Remember when you were in junior high school? It's probably at its worst then, right? Where kids form cliques, they start picking on each other. Well, they develop a pecking order on the playgrounds, right?
Yeah.
It really is juvenile. It's infantile, Pete.
Yeah, I'm trying to build an empire of listeners here, and I just want to right. I want to be the top, and I am actually, in fact, the top alternative media radio talk show host without a speech impediment.
You are.
Right?
Yes.
Aren't I?
Yeah.
Wait.
I am a Easter Bunny
jet pilot
from the planet Uranus.
Great segue. Did you do that on purpose?
You
must
Dude, I love what Alex Jones is doing, okay? So
yeah, he's doing okay.
I can use his clips, but I love him reaching millions and millions of people. That's what we want. We want to get the truth out there to the best of our ability. And he's doing a good job of doing that. So I'm a little bit easier on him these days. I like Alex.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing right now. So,
you do?
Anyways, yeah, but that could change tomorrow.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply, and of course the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
Despite adversity, The Pete Santilli Show is stronger than it's been since we launched our first episode in April 2011. If you're hearing this message, you're obviously connected via the powerful reach of our show. With over 22 years of internet marketing experience, we've got what it takes to help you develop a campaign that will successfully broadcast your business to millions of viewers and listeners worldwide. We've got big plans in the near future to expand our audience and educate the growing number of citizen journalists trying to make a difference in the world we live in. Pete's working towards syndicating the show with some of the biggest names in broadcasting, and we want to take you with us. If you're a small business owner and you'd like to advertise to our listeners across the country and around the world, please send us an email to advertise@thepetesantillishow.com today.
Pete Santilli is a right-wing radio host. Now, if you think other right-wing radio hosts are over the top, wait till you get a load of Santilli.
Miss Hillary, the freaking biggest vagina on the face of the planet.
I mean, what? I think that's all.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
You're listening to The Pete Santilli Show. One small step for man, one giant leap towards the truth.
Woohoo! Yeah, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Give it away, give it away, give it away.
We got some super chats in here. Ms. Brenda Farfignugan gave me $2. No, it's not Farfignugan. If that's your real name, she says she's a troll.
Yeah.
We got a $2 super chat. Ms. Brenda, Fürsachen. There you go. Right? And you can make fun of the Santilli name too, okay? Those ethnic sounding names are great, actually.
Yes, they are.
So Ms. Brenda, thank you so much. She says she's a troll. Thank you. And no question, but she's identified herself with a $2 bill.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And Robert Guile, for the third hour. Semper Fi, brother. There you go. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Hey, speaking of Semper Fi, the President of the United States is surrounded by Marines. Don't forget about that, with everyone concerned about what's happening in this coup versus counter coup type thing. Just remember, he's surrounded by Marines.
Yes.
Okay? And that's a good thing. Let's go back to the story here. All right, I'm not even going to venture, and this was written by Daisy Luther via the Organic Prepper block. I'm not even going to venture into the religious aspect of having a microchip inserted into a human being. Let's just talk about the secular ramifications. Certain folks won't be happy until everyone has a computer chip implanted in them. Here's how this could go. Initially, it would be the sheep who would blindly desire to be chipped for their own convenience, leading the way. And they're going to make it trendy, of course.
Of course.
They're going to write Hollywood scripted, 60-second spots and talk about, technology's changed and the Constitution, we don't need it. It's old and obsolete and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they'll have a really nice commercial. It'll start with a bank.
Oh, and all the stars that are diddling little boys in Hollywood.
Yeah, they'll wave their hand. Make it really cool.
Yeah, they're going to do this thing where they chop up one sentence into 5 different stars.
Yeah.
I can be just like you. They do that libtardish metrosexual freaking Google music in the background.
I know.
Right?
I know.
We can do this together. Anyways, I love my facial expressions too.
When I
watch back. We are one.
With a chip.
With a
right?
I'm one with a freaking chip, a Lay's potato chip, and some steak and potatoes.
Right?
Okay. So initially, those libtardish with the Google music in the background, they're going to make it trendy for all the sheep to go get chipped.
They're always black and white.
Yeah, black and white, right, and trendy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got all the hipsters on it.
Then it would become remarkably inconvenient to not be chipped. Sort of like it's nearly impossible not to go have a bank account these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually possible. I had mine shut down. Right?
Yes, you have.
It's possible. Just, you know, if you have anybody standing next to you, like your significant other and love of your life, right?
Right,
Deborah
that
Jordan,
has a bank account.
best friend that needs the money in that bank account, right? You get it shut down.
Yep.
Sucks for you, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Me, I had air conditioning. People put money on my commissary. Huh? I was at the Motel 6 just... Right?
Yeah, at the Motel 6, baby.
Getting chipped one bag at a time.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Yeah.
No, people were very kind. And
Then the last holdouts could be, of course, because, you know, let's call it like a vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide not to chip your child, you're going to be arrested.
Yes.
You'll be arrested.
Sure.
Because you haven't accepted the chip.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you dare decide not to get your child vaccinated for whatever reason you choose. Don't you dare do that, because society is all running around with freaking immunization marks on their arms.
Yeah.
Remember that mark, very distinctive, that especially the older generation had?
Yeah.
Now they're able to inject carcinogens into us without leaving that lasting, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Be careful. I have one of those.
You do?
Sure.
I should know this. I wasn't paying attention. Huh?
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, the smallpox, I think.
I didn't look for it because I don't consider you part of the older generation.
You don't?
No.
Oh,
No.
how
I
nice of
certainly
you.
don't. No, we're gonna.
That's because I act so young.
We're gonna live forever because we drink Life Change tea. That's a great
Yes.
plot. Yes.
We're going to live forever.
Read on, because I
Yeah.
could not make this stuff up. Listen, some employers are now chipping their workers. Last summer, the internet was abuzz about a company in Wisconsin that wanted to microchip their employees. Workers at the technology company, 3 Market Square, were given the option of having a chip implanted in their hands or being fired. No, and 50 out of 80 eagerly lined up for the privilege. Yes, of having a chip.
Yeah.
Why? So they could buy food or swipe their way through building security with a wave of their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Software engineer Sam Bankston explained why he was on board. Quote, "It was pretty much 100% yes right from the get-go for me. In the next 5 to 10 years, this is going to be something that isn't scoffed at so much. So it's going to be trendy later because everybody will have been brainwashed by the freaking leftist Marxist metrosexuals with Google music in the background." Huh?
Google music.
It's the music of the age of the Marxists. They
I
got
know.
Google music in the background.
And it's all happy.
And they soften the imagery. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that song by Pharrell, Happy.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of, happiness going on there.
Do it.
Because I'm so happy.
Look at you.
Yeah, that's right. I want to chip.
Look at you all dancing.
Chip me. The only chip I'm going to get is a bag of freaking Fritos. Right?
Right.
He wasn't alone. In fact, they had a microchipping party. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Open up a bag of chips and hand them out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And some people got chipped live on TV, so the rest of us reluctant humans could all see how cool it was to get microchipped. And let's watch it here. You ready?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, stand by. Hold on a second.
Microchips to replace ID badges. It's hosting a chip day party to implant the devices in the employees. And our guy Ron Mott is at the party. Hey, Ron, how is it?
Hey, Hoda and Matt, good morning to you both. You know, we all know people complain that their companies treat them like machines. Well, 3 Square Market is sticking it to their folks today using these needles. Now, let me show you first what this microchip looks like. It is about the size of a grain of basmati rice. So Patrick here is the CEO. Andy is a licensed body piercer. So let it rip. We're going to see this now.
Oh my God.
Look at, there he is.
I can't look.
Where's he being chipped?
I can't look. Needle is in. Chip is in.
Bingo.
Not very much blood at all. Patrick, how'd that feel?
Better than get my wisdom teeth out.
Okay, you're still
wow.
conscious.
Yeah, I'm great.
Melissa got chipped yesterday, but you had to be talked into doing this. How long did it take you to say yes to this?
I was a little hesitant at first, but I had 7 days to think about it. And once I learned the facts, there was no question in my mind.
Okay, one last thing.
No question in her mind.
Go ahead, Steve. They can buy their goodies here in the break room by just using their hand. Real quickly, he's going to get a Kit Kat bar. And it's paid for $1.06, guys. So the question again, as we asked you last week, are you ready to be chipped, guys? Let's send it back to you.
Wow. I'm kind of I don't know that I would do it.
No?
Would you do it?
I don't. For the convenience of it,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah. I don't know.
Not for a Kit Kat bar.
maybe for a Mercedes.
Maybe for a Klondike.
Yeah, exactly.
Certainly not a Kit Kat.
Dylan's got more. You've been asking folks about it.
We've asked on Twitter, would you be willing to have a microchip implanted? And not surprisingly, 93% said no. What's wrong with this? It's easy to keep around.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. You know what you do? You go buy the Kit Kat machine and you shake someone's hand and put it next to it and charge them.
That's right. You just bought me a Kit Kat.
They just think that's hilarious. Okay.
I just want my name to be Hoda Kotb.
So here's what happened to me. Speaking of bank accounts, right? So, no,
okay.
wait a minute. Should I be laughing at what you just said?
What?
Okay.
I want my name to be, ladies and gentlemen, now the host, Hoda Kotb, or what's her name? Moda.
I don't know. You know what? I have no idea who these people are sitting on that couch.
It's Al Roker. Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
He used to eat a lot of chips.
Yes.
Okay.
I know who Al Roker is.
So
okay.
he stopped eating chips, and look at he lost weight. So there you go. So anyways, I'm breaking your flow.
So what happens? And you just saw me go through this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get a letter in the mail telling me that my bank card is no longer going to be good after so many days.
Yes.
And they are sending me a new bank card
with a chip.
With the chip. Woo. I resisted it all this time. And they said, so I called the bank and I said, do I have to take the card with the chip in it? Why can't I just keep the card that I have? They said, because we're moving to that technology.
Yes.
And if you don't move with us, you don't get to use the ATM machine.
You don't. We will cut you off. So it's your choice.
It's your choice. You have a choice.
You have freedom of choice.
So I got my new bank card.
Yes.
And that's the way, and the point being, that's the way it's going to be with receiving the chip.
Hold on a second. You
It
messed
is.
out. You left out the most important part. And this isn't scripted, by the way. We're literally talking about this real time. So we're driving halfway across the country.
Across the country.
Right?
Miss.
And I jump out and I grab the card, and I got to use your card to fill up the tank of gas so that we can continue on. Declined. I was like, whoa. Oh my God, what are we going to do? But long story short was, fortunately, we were literally like 2 doors from the bank where we needed to go.
It was like right across the street.
We were literally on our way across the country. Called the bank and
In a
told
rental
them
car.
what was going to happen. Huh?
We were going across the country in a rental car.
In a rental car. That's right. With three Bearcats zigzagging 100 miles an hour and FBI HRT guys, right, just waiting for our car to turn off.
Yeah, no kidding.
To find out what we were going to do.
Yeah, what are you going to do next?
What's he going to do next?
Okay.
Now.
So what happens is I was just totally dumbfounded. I was like, what the heck? Because, I was like, I know that there's money in there, right? Enough for gas anyway. And so I called the bank and they said, oh, it looks here like you got a letter a few weeks ago saying that, you had to get a new card. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So we went across the street and they issued me a temporary card.
We were chipped by force.
Yeah. And then, but when we got home the next day, or then within the next couple of days, I got my card with the chip. And now you have to stick it in the little slot at the bottom.
That's right.
Before you can buy anything.
You know what I did? I put my card in and I pulled it back out and it went and all these, I was like, oh, what? And he said, you pulled it out too soon. Remember the guy yelling at me? He yelled at me. Don't pull it out too soon. I'm like, this is the first time I've ever done this. I've been at the freaking Motel 6 for, you know what I mean? I was running around like a terrorist paying cash for stuff earlier.
Yeah.
All right? Like 2 years ago, the world was different. I didn't have to have the chip.
Yeah, no kidding.
Put your hands up.
Yeah.
Turn around. And he was screaming at me.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't very happy with you at all.
Canceled the transaction. So pretty soon, experts say that everyone, we're a little bit resistant, but everyone will want to be chipped. Many sources say that it's inevitable that we're all going to get chipped. Noel Chelsea, an associate professor of sociology, and that's why they laugh at those polls. They say 93% say no, but 100% of the people that are controlling you say, yes, you will. We just want to see how
you're going to get one.
It's going to sway in our direction here. We're just taking your temperature with, right?
That's right.
With a poll.
Yeah.
Thermometer. Yeah.
A poll thermometer.
A poll. Yeah.
Ouch.
It will happen to, you know what? Don't be juvenile.
I'm trying.
Or what was the term that was used?
Infantile.
Infantile.
Yeah.
Don't be infantile.
I'm trying.
It will happen to everybody, but not this year and not in 2018. Maybe not my generation, but certainly that of my kids. I asked you a question the other day.
Yep.
That prompts me to my next question.
Okay. I'm listening.
This was a personal question, but I think we can answer it publicly.
Okay.
I said, would you ever bring a child into this world right now? Do you want to answer the question, or do you want to keep it private?
I would not.
We answered that question truthfully to each other, that the world, it's not because we don't love children, of course. We have grandchildren.
Yes.
So we're very loving of our children, but to consciously make a decision to bring a child into this world that's going to be chipped and corralled like cattle.
Yeah.
And information flow and their cranium opened and stuff inserted by, AT&T, Time Warner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't purposefully do it. But I mean, if I'm a young person right now, young people are so oblivious and so brainwashed and so dumbed down. They don't even realize what's going on around them. They have no idea. For them, getting your child chipped is a great alternative to having someone steal that child and not know where that child is or whatever, you know.
One thing we would not do, and tell me that you would agree, I know you would. If I accidentally got you pregnant, we wouldn't abort it.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
So that's the beautiful side of.
That's the beautiful side of that.
Our verbal topic of conversation. Okay. Let's move on. Why do I feel uncomfortable talking about our private stuff like that?
I don't know. I don't even know why you're doing that.
I feel kind of dirty a little bit.
So
tell me what your true thoughts are, Deb.
Tell me what you really think.
Yeah, tell me what you really think. Another pro-chipping advocate, Gene Munster, his name is. His name is Munster.
I love that name.
From the Munsters.
Eddie
An
Munster.
investor and an analyst at Loop Ventures says that we just have to get past that silly social stigma. And then everyone will be doing it within 50 years. Why? Oh, the benefits. The company, which sells corporate cafeteria kiosks designed to replace vending machines, would like the kiosks to handle cashless transactions. A cashless society.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, and that's exactly where we're headed.
I can freaking...
We're almost there now.
Right now, just within 30 days after leaving the Motel 6, I can just about rule the world with my iPhone.
I mean, Bitcoin is like the best alternative for cashless society.
Yeah. Oh, man, we're going to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I am a huge cryptocurrency advocate. Okay?
You are?
I am a huge cryptocurrency advocate for the following reasons.
Your chip will work great.
Huh?
I said your chip is going to work great. Just saying.
I know. What am I going to do?
I don't know. What are you going to do? Huh?
Gunless and chipped.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
No guns?
One final break, and then we're done? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, we're already there.
Okay. So if you want to call in, you're welcome to do that. We'll see if we can get your call in before the end of the show. Hey, tomorrow, don't forget to tune in for Ask Pete in the morning. Okay,
yes,
I'm going to schedule it a little bit later so that the West Coast can cover it. But don't miss that tomorrow if you want to ask me a question. We've made some changes. Not only have we changed our name to Santilli Broadcasting Network, we've now partnered with BeforeIt'sNews.com, one of the last news sharing sites that promotes articles written and researched by citizen journalists like you and me.
For over 5 years, The Pete Santilli Show has been a contributor to one of the most powerful independent news sharing sites. Before It's News, the most innovative, people-powered outlet for independent media on the internet today.
Thousands of contributors working together to bring you news from the sublime to mainstream headlines.
BeforeIt'sNews.com lives up to its name because many times you'll see an important news story before it ever hits the mainstream media.
BeforeIt'sNews.com. People-powered sharing of news stories that are ranked based on what the readers determine is important.
Visit BeforeIt'sNews.com. Check out the top 50 trending articles circulating on the internet right now.
Unfiltered, uncensored stories ranked by people, not the global elite.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger-looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Despite adversity, The Pete Santilli Show is stronger than it's been since we launched our first episode in April 2011. If you're hearing this message, you're obviously connected via the powerful reach of our show. With over 22 years of internet marketing experience, we've got what it takes to help you develop a campaign that will successfully broadcast your business to millions of viewers and listeners worldwide. We've got big plans in the near future to expand our audience and educate the growing number of citizen journalists trying to make a difference in the world we live in. Pete's working towards syndicating the show with some of the biggest names in broadcasting, and we want to take you with us. If you're a small business owner and you'd like to advertise to our listeners across the country and around the world, please send us an email to advertise@thepetesantillishow.com today.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Nappy Boy, man. This is what we do.
This is exactly what we do, okay? We cover the news. We do so in a fashion that, you know what, the majority of people really like it. We get a lot of great feedback, that we can have fun with the show.
Mm-hmm.
They like our dynamics. They like the fact that we conjugate in between shows.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh, what?
Oh, nothing. I'm just glad you didn't.
Somebody said, "Are you and Deb and Ida?" And they were genuine about it, but they noticed the chemistry between us.
Oh, yes.
We have chemistry.
We have chemistry.
It's all theater because
It's
what I do
all
is I say,
fake.
just act like you really like me so I can go over here and start switching screens.
He
okay?
pays me.
Pretend. Pretend like you like me because I got a bunch of stuff I'm doing over here. I got 10 screens going on. No, but anyways. So where the hell was I going? I know exactly where I was going. So
you get flustered.
So technology, okay,
Mm-hmm.
progresses. So everyone will accept the chip as you will be forced to do.
Yeah.
Right?
It's social engineering.
Social engineering.
Sure, and they've already started.
It's kind of like Twitter, okay?
Yeah.
Before Twitter, okay, people are like, I'm not going to go. I remember I was literally in telecommunications. I worked for Bell South.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into businesses and said, well, we're going to be setting up these computers on your desk and you're going to be able to email people. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And that was back in the day when they could smoke in their cubicles.
Right.
At the bank, and they're like, why would I do that? I just, Margaret, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that? I just pick up the phone and call them. I'm not going to do that. So, huh? They're like, voicemail in the computer system. I'm just going to pick up the phone and call them. And we had rotary dials back then, and we had the buttons with the lights on it to find out what line you were on.
Right.
Oh man, I'm dating myself now.
And then when it
things
came
are
around to where they could send money.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they used to run courier envelopes from bank to bank.
That's right.
Yeah, so I was literally setting up banks, and the resistant older generation was like, no, I don't trust it. I'd rather just run this courier bag of cash over. It's not going to happen that way. Okay. They won't be able to sync their,
Pretty soon you won't be able to.
The Russian hackers won't be able to sync their hooks into every single transaction by doing that.
That's right.
It's way too secure, you hand delivering that thing.
Yeah, well, I remember one of the first things I did on the internet, social media wise, was MySpace. And I was really reluctant to go to Facebook. I was like, you can't build your own little spot. And you can't. It's limited.
Holy crap. I was on freaking Twitter. I was on top of the world. I was one of the first ones to ever reach 100,000 followers. And one of the first ones to drop the F-bomb on the internet.
Oh my gosh.
It became socially acceptable to actually like speak human like I normally do in real life. I mean, if I do, I don't drop the F-bomb. I don't drop the F-bomb anymore, do I?
Not too much.
No, I don't. Very rarely. But I've gotten away from that. But the push, the social push to get me from, I mean, there was like financial incentives for me to go over, come on over to Facebook and, we'll make you rich.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a job.
You're always trying to get me to go on Twitter.
Huh?
I hate Twitter.
I love Twitter.
You know what? That's where all the trolls live.
Yeah.
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 They do.
Liberal trolls especially.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so
hated over
check this
there.
out. So some people haven't really figured out. I mean, they're so immersed in the new technology, they're kind of stuck in their old ways. But here, let's go to this clip and then we'll comment on it. Okay.
Okay.
Very interesting thing from Hillary Clinton. Here it is.
I think Bill rightly said, look, you've got to take risks for peace. You don't make peace with your friends. You make peace with people with whom you have serious differences. He asked George Mitchell to be the negotiator. It went on for years. There was nothing fast and easy about it. He didn't tweet about it. He got to work about it, and he actually got it done.
Look at Bill. He's like, oh, you're right. I didn't tweet about that. What a freaking buffoon. Number one, okay? I don't even think we had internet back when Bill Clinton was president.
Probably not.
Okay.
Not the way we have it now.
Twitter was invented in 2006.
Right.
Bill Clinton was not tweeting about it in 1993.
No.
Wasn't even thinking about it.
No.
He was just barely helping to put together the surveillance state.
Just think of all the things he could get by with.
And everybody's like, oh, great point. Bill wasn't tweeting back then in 1993. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course he was. I was like, huh?
No kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
Bill wasn't tweeting back then.
No.
I wonder why. Because he was too busy. Right?
Too busy.
Too busy.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you wish that Bill Clinton had done those things today?
Wouldn't it be amazing? But, I got to tell you something. I watched Monica Lewinsky's TED Talks. Have you ever seen it?
I love Monica Lewinsky, believe it
or not.
Yeah.
TED Talk is amazing. She was one of the first people who was relentlessly bullied on the internet. So it was coming about then. There was no such thing as, but she said the first thing that she got, how the word was spread about her was through all these email pushes, right? And it was on the National Enquirer and all those places. She was talking about how bullied she was,
Oh my God.
and how it destroyed her life. It just destroyed her life. And it was all the Hillary Clinton machine, even back then.
Yeah, it just absolutely destroyed her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. She should come out again and encourage.
She's beautiful. Her TED Talk. If you guys want to hear something amazing, give this girl a listen. She throws it out there. How her life was destroyed. She said she couldn't just be a regular 20-something-year-old and have an affair with a teacher. She had to have an affair with the president of the United States.
If I don't do this, I won't be able to sleep tonight. Okay, because this is an important story. Because when I latch onto these things, actually, a person who shall remain nameless, I think Ricky Loveling actually shared it with me because he's out in Oklahoma.
Yep.
And he shared a story with me, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen. This is an important story. I couldn't get to it yesterday. Okay, but communities fighting against biochemical warfare testing. Okay, a small community is fighting against the federal government's biochemical warfare testing, though a contract with Oklahoma the U.S. Through a contract with Oklahoma, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will release what they say is, don't worry about it, it's non-toxic powder substance near Chilocco Indian School in Newkirk in January and June. The powder substance is meant to simulate the behavior of harmful... Now, how can you simulate harmful biological materials and say, don't worry about it? It'll just make you twitch for about 5 minutes, right?
So you'll have an out-of-body experience.
How could you say that it's not harmful if you're trying to replicate the harmful biological materials that you're going to be spraying? How is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean...
Doesn't equate to me.
So, I mean, if they didn't want to see how people are going to react or what the reaction would be to the environment or to the people, then why are they even doing it?
See, officials want to see if the substance could get into homes and buildings and how resilient humans could be inside. So we're also treating human beings like laboratory rats as well.
Right.
Right? Let's see how well you do sitting at home on Facebook. We've given you this Facebook thing. Let's see how well you survive. And everyone will just stay in their room.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right. I think we'll do fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, people don't go anywhere anymore.
They don't.
Right. Yeah.
Especially not me.
Yeah.
Especially
not outside
not
a
me.
50-mile radius anyway.
No. Let's see. Shelley Becker, a resident of Arkansas City, Kansas, just a few miles north of Chilocco Indian School, said, we feel very strongly that it's not okay for them to do this in our town. So Becker works at the school district just a mile and a half away from the proposed testing site. She went on, I don't want my children out there on the playground playing. Well, of course, because we want you inside on the freaking internet, on their iPads playing kid games.
That's right.
And watching those kid YouTube channels.
Yeah. Have you seen all of these videos of kids holding cell phones, like smartphones? And I mean, we're talking
iPads.
2, 3, 4-year-olds.
Yeah, and watching
crazy.
YouTube cartoon videos of SpongeBob killing other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Be careful what you have your children watching. Ms. Brenda Farfignugan gave $2.
She's amazing.
She said they are chipping opiate meds too. She's right.
Wow.
Huh? That's how, you know what? That's what they're going to do.
It is.
They're going to get everyone addicted to chips by creating some, right? The same physical effects that opiates give people. So you'll actually want to get your chip replaced to get it replenished if, when the high isn't as high anymore. Yeah. That's how they're going to do it. Those polls are going to change like overnight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They just started polling people that got the new opioid chip. And overwhelmingly, 99% of everyone wants to get their chips. Right?
Yes. Get your chips here.
Let's see. Get your chips here.
Get your chips here.
All right. So this story is important. Okay. I don't want my children out there on the playground. Becker and many others along the Oklahoma-Kansas border are worried about how the chemical powder released in the air could potentially hurt wildlife, crops, water, and even people, all of which are majority owned and controlled by the federal government anyway. So don't worry about it. All of your water, it's not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't belong to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is happening in Oklahoma, huh?
In Oklahoma, officials with Homeland Security say the non-toxic powder substance will have such a small concentration, it's practically harmless. That's what they said.
Practically
harmless.
Practically harmless.
And pay no attention to that powder substance that we put in your Motel 6 beverage that makes your ding-a-ling go down. Don't worry about that. Huh?
Right.
I found out that's what they did.
Is it?
Yeah. They give I stopped drinking that stuff years ago. I did. Like 1 month into, I found out, about the skull and crossbones guy because the guy was in the cafeteria. He said, "Hey, there's skull and crossbones on the stuff that we put in the drink. Don't drink it."
Yeah.
And then I found out why. Because they take the Motel 6 population. They don't want them being aggressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want Motel 6 people running around with boners.
Right. So a chemical castration.
This is true.
It's like spay your dogs. Spay and neuter.
So I used to have to sleep on my side because I resisted and didn't take. I boycotted. What? I did.
You boycotted the drink.
I did. Yeah.
The anti-boner medication.
Yeah. Don't talk like that. Huh?
What
We
do you
can't do
mean?
this. We're thinking about putting the show up on very, very friendly, family friendly. Huh? Yeah, that cancels that out. So, yeah, guys, I need more super chats just
I guess
because of
I
our
should have
conduct.
said anti-dingling.
We need more super chats because we're saying really rude stuff that's going to get us boxed out of all the deals we're trying to
Oh
work.
my gosh!
Huh?
Well, you know.
Yeah. Do we have any more? No, we don't. Okay. So you guys, I really, here I am having to shift back in a serious thing. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Channel 2, this community in Chilocco, Chilocco. I want you to go look that up.
Yeah, we may have somebody listening.
We need to follow this story, okay? And we need to do whatever we can to, at minimum, do we need a protest? We need some accountability here and say, stop. You're not going to spray powder at the local elementary school.
Yeah.
Without it. They're like, Homeland Security said that it's not nearly as harmful as the vaccinations we got you guys wired up on, right?
Right.
That's what their response is.
It's not nearly as detrimental as the ADHD medication.
Yeah.
Your child takes every day.
No, we have to stop. There's also a website here is facebook.com group that I have up on the screen. Joey Leos is yelling at me because he got kicked out of the chat room. That's okay though. Joe.
I don't know how that happened.
But
Facebook must have done that.
It stopped chemical testing at Chilocco. Okay. And not nearly enough group members. We've got 1,691 group members. Everybody get over there. Let's go. Let's give them support. I think that especially for the children, as the left does, that they appeal to. Come on, seriously, think about this. The children at the playground, there's mothers that are saying, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's at least test and have an independent test. Don't have the government test it and say, don't worry about it, you're going to be fine. Let's have some independent tests. Now, we have everybody get into that room and say, let's get Mike Adams on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's some scientists that we have access to that can test this thing that I would trust. Their analysis of this powder. Let's ask for some independent testing of this stuff and make people of the local community. Now, if they say, oh, you know what, it's just white bread flour. Well, we consume that all day long.
Right.
Spray the heck out of me. Right?
Spray me down in bread.
Spray me down.
Yes.
But get over to that Facebook page. Join that. Let's get in the group. Let's start encouraging these people. Give them some ideas. Share some resources that we have from independent media. We have scientists that can conduct an independent study. Mike Adams is the first person that comes to mind.
Absolutely.
But we have other people too that we don't want to exclude. But let's get some testing. Let's put the community members' minds at ease, and let's show what the power of our support here in the independent media and us like-minded individuals can do to help this community. And we can do it right on Facebook. You don't even need to leave your house. And you can stay in your underwear and help out.
Yes.
Okay? All right. So tomorrow morning, I did the Ask Pete a little bit too early. So it was like 5:30 in the morning on the West Coast.
It was. I was like, you might want to do that a little later.
So I'm going to push it a little bit later.
tomorrow.
So right around 7 o'clock, if you're having coffee or something like that and you're getting ready to head out the door, join me for Ask Pete. Put Ask Pete in the beginning, and you could ask me some questions, and I'll tell you about what's coming up for the show. Who do we have coming on the show tomorrow?
You know what? I'm not sure. I didn't check the...
Okay, we'll check the calendar. You'll find out tomorrow morning.
I'll find out in the morning. Yes.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know in the morning.
We've got great
but we
guests
have somebody,
coming up.
I know.
We do. We have great guests coming up. You want to stay tuned to the Pete Santilli Show each and every day at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you guys. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. And welcome back, everyone.